couple of corners. Miyazono knows that, goes for that defensive line, and here comes De Bruyne, ready to try and take profit of it as well. Through the bus of chicane, there's contact. Ura's onto the curb. De Bruyne goes back through on the inside.
Okay, give me a second here, chat.
So Ura goes from attacking.
Lay down, okay? Go lay down, right? Alright, lay down. Alright, here we go.
Grand finals of the Nations Cup for the Gran Turismo World Series 2025. My name's Jules Hardy, and I'm joined here in Japan by the wonderful Sasha, my beautiful co-host for today.
福岡の皆さん、こんにちは。I can't hear them.
You can't hear them.
No. 福岡の皆さん、こんにちは。
Louder.
Yeah, welcome to Japan, everybody, and thank you so much for watching. 皆さん、ご覧いただいて本当にありがとうございます。そしてお越しいただいた皆さんもありがとうございます。グランツーリスモワールドファイナル、ついにこの福岡で、ネーションズカップを迎えることになりました。Yeah.
It's going to be, we've got the best sim races in the world. I mean, there's no other way to put it. This is going to be some incredible racing today, the culmination of so many hours of hard work for these drivers. So please show them your support.
Yeah. もう朝にですね、今日はもう世界のベストのシミュレーターたちがですね、努力の結晶を見せてくれるということで、大きなリスペクトをね、拍手と声援で見せていただきたいと思います。大丈夫ですか？
He said something like, "We have the best sim races in the world. Are you guys ready?"
I do have a question for you out there.
Of course, I speak Japanese.
Do you think you know our drivers?
さあ、ちょっとここにいる皆さんとそしてご覧いただいている皆さんにもですね、ちょっと聞いてみたいんですが、皆さんはここに来るドライバーのことを知ってますか？
Let's find out.
さあ、チェックしましょう。Let's look at the video.
He said, "Let's look at the video."
Don't
See?
forget that you can get involved with the World Series
I speak
inside
Japanese.
Gran Turismo 7 with the bonus campaign. Just click on the Champions campaign banner on the GT7 world map, and that's going to give you the chance to win 1 million credits for each of the Nations Cup and the Manufacturers Cup by predicting who's going to win. Just think of all the stuff you could buy with that. Don't forget that you can enter and vote right up until the start of each grand final. Good luck. Watch the World Series broadcast through your GT7 game, and you'll unlock some special in-game rewards through the Viewers campaign.
Let's go.
Watch the Nations Cup live stream, and you could win a Gran Turismo F3500B. Everyone likes free stuff, myself included, and here's your chance to grab some.
Please welcome on stage Park Jun, Vice President of N Management Group, Hyundai Motor Company, Hyundai Motor Company N Management Group, Vice President のパク・ジュンさんです。Welcome.
皆様こんにちは。お会いできて光栄です。
Thank you for being here.
私はHyundai Nブレンド市中常務パク・ジュンです。よ
We're
ろし
gonna
く
put
お
on
願
a
い
great
いたしま
show.
す。
And thank you.
私の日本語はここまでです。すみません。
Wonderful Japanese.
That was a
大きな拍手を
joke,
送ってください。
he
素
said.
晴らしい日本語でした。そしてステージには山内和則さんにもお越しいただいております。And 和則山内 is with us on stage. さあ、
Stop,
ま
bro.
ずは
What?
ですね、このジュンさんにで
I
す
will.
ね
I will.、
この、10周年という、
Think of all the anime I've watched. I know some
その記念
words,
という
but
こと
I
にも
really
なるわけ
don't.
ですけれども、ちょっとその辺についても聞いてみたいと思います。So, Jun, could you tell us about the Hyundai N brand 10th anniversary?
Okay, before I talk about the Hyundai N's 10th anniversary, I would like to talk about Gran Turismo. I love cars, and since I was young, I played Gran Turismo. Back in 1997, when I first played Gran Turismo, I was shocked, and I played again and again and again. And right now, my sons are playing Gran Turismo all the time. And that shows how great Gran Turismo
You used to be able to save your cars on your memory card,
年に初めてグランツーリスモをね、プレイしたわ
bring
け
it
です
to
が、
your
本当にショ
buddy's
ッキング
house
なぐらい、もう
and
本当に楽しか
play
った
and
わけで
race
す
each
けれど
other's
も、
cars.
今はですね、私の息子たちがですね、もう毎日のようにプレイしているんですが、それがいかに、グランツーリスモがですね、影響力が大きいか、そして大きい存在かというのをね、まさに証明していると思います。
To talk about the 10th anniversary, this year marks the 10th anniversary of Hyundai N, and also it means the 10th anniversary of great collaboration with the Polypony Gran Turismo, which began with the Hyundai N 2025 Vision Gran Turismo when we firstly launched N as a brand back in 2015 at the Frankfurt Motor Show.
はい、ヒョンデの N の、10周年ということになるわけですけれども、それはまたポリフォニー、そしてグランツーリスモとのですね、10周年のパートナーシップということにもなるわけですね。ちょうどですね、2015年のフランクフルトモーターショーで今写真出ていますけれども、ヒョンデ N2025、ビジョングランツーリスモを発表した時だったんです。
10 years old, we were younger, right?
10年前なんでちょっと若いですね。はい。
Over the past decade, Hyundai N has achieved a lot of great success in WRC, TCR World Tour, Nürburgring 24 Hours Race, and also in the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb. We introduced a lot of different high-performance cars like i30N and Elantra,
Colorado.
and now we are setting the standard of EV high performance like Ioniq 5N and Ioniq 6N.
はい。ヒョンデはですね、N シリーズでですね、さまざまな成功を収めてきたんですね、WRC。
Yes, Psycho Mantis.
リンク24時間レース、さらにパイクスピークのですね、ヒルクライム。そして
We
で
didn't
すね、
say
いろん
second
なハイパ
player
フォーマンスな
controller.
車も皆様にご紹介してまいりました。
Thanks for the full five, man. Good to see you, dude.
エラ
Hope everything's
ン
good.
トラ N とか。そして今はですね、EV でも、新しいですね、スタンダードをまさに築いているというところで、それが Ioniq 5N、そして Ioniq 6N ということになるわけなんですね。はい。ということで、本当に素晴らしいんですが、Congratulations.
Thank you.
はい。ね、では山内さんね、本当に、この写真を見るとですね、いろんな思い出もまた蘇ってくると思うんですが、So looking back to these photos, you will, there are lots of memories, I'm sure. Please tell us about your experience collaborating with Hyundai N brand. N ブランドとのですね、ヒョンデとのコラボレーションをちょっと振り返ってみていかがでしょうか。
はい、先ほどね、お話があった通り、2015年に僕ら初めて、ヒョンデの方とビジョングランツーリスモを作って、そこがヒョンデの、スポーツライン N ブランドの、スタート地点だったわけですよね。はい、で、以来10年経ってで N ブランドもすごく定着しましたし、ヒョンデという自動車メーカーも、世界で第3位の自動車メーカーになって、なんかそういう旅路にお付き合いできたっていうのはすごく光栄なことだなと思っています。
The 10 years ago that was the beginning of the collaboration, but also beginning of the N. And since then, N became a big brand, and also not only N, but Hyundai became the third largest car company in the world. So it's really an honor to join the journey together. That's what Yamauchi-san saying.
Thank you.
Do you want to add something?
Yeah, it's been great working together with the Polypony Digital in the past 10 years. And looking ahead, we are preparing exciting collaboration with the Gran Turismo for the next decade and beyond. On top of adding new cafe menu and also museum content, the Elantra and TCR will be available in the next DLC. Right here, you can see maybe. It's an honor to bring one of the most dominant touring car into. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
All right. It's an honor to bring one of the most dominant touring race car into Gran Turismo. We hope this gives more people more opportunity to drive a professional touring car in an easier way. And actually, the car is displayed outside, which is the winning race car in Super Daikyu 24 Hours Race this year. And please stop by and check it out.
はい、ポリフォニーとですね、そしてグランツーリスモと10年やってきたわけですが、次の10年もさらに発展的にいろんなコラボレーションをしたいというふうに思っています。その始まりとしてですね、新しいカフェメニュー、そしてミュージアムのコンテンツももちろんですけれども、さらにですね、
My man's
次の
translating
DLC では、
both directions,
この
isn't
グラン
he?
ツーリスモ7にですね、ランタラ
He's translating the English to Japanese and the Japanese to English.
同梱するということになるわけなんですけれども、これはですね、まさに今年のスーパー耐久24時間レースの勝者でもあるわけですけれども、最もですね、活躍をしている、成功しているツーリングカーをですね、グランツーリスモで皆様に 気軽にというか、楽しく乗っていただくそんなきっかけにもなると思うんです。今日はね外に展示もしてあるんで、この会場にいらっしゃる皆様見ていただければ嬉しいなというふうに思っていますということなんですね。いやー本当に楽しみな発表なんですが、It's really exciting. And talking about the next decade is a little bit far away. Do you have anything to add for next year, maybe?
Yeah, I have a bunch of things that I want to say, but I cannot say anything any further at this moment. I'm so sorry. But we are cooking great collaborative things together with Polypony and together with Yamauchi-san for the 2026 and beyond. So please stay tuned.
はい、来年についてはですね、もうちょっと喋りたいこともあるんですが、まだ言えないことがたくさんあるので、ポリフォニーとともにですね、そして山内さんとともにいろんなことを考えてますので、楽しみにして、そしてフォローを忘れないようにしていただきたいというふうにおっしゃっていますね。So anything you want to add, 山内さん？山内さん何か付け加えることは？
はい、付け加えることはありません。確かに準備しております。
おお。I cannot add anything, but we are preparing.
Yeah.
Period. Right. ということで非常に楽しみでございます。
Secret stuff.
Back to you, Jules.
Oh, amazing stuff. Lovely to hear from the Hyundai family. You've been involved in GT longer, just a little bit longer than I have. And having been involved in Gran Turismo for, it's been about 8 years now, I know that being in the top 3, going into the Nations Cup, doesn't really mean anything because it can all change in one race. Right, now if you've missed out on all of the excitement up until this point, why don't you take a quick look at the season recap?
A very good evening and welcome for Gran Turismo World Series. It is time before the Nations Cup.
And the last things, like some people brought their cars and they were voted on, and the winner got his car into a Gran Turismo. I can't remember what the car was that won, but
2025
it was something pretty sweet.
Year of the Gran Turismo World Series, and we kicked off in round 1 in the United Kingdom. And London
It's like
did
an
not
Integra or something
disappoint,
like that.
and we were treated to some incredibly tight racing.
As we come into the first corner, Serrano defends Ura, looking for the outside line. That's going to be brave. Can he make it stick on Serrano? He slides. Is that moment over? But Jose Serrano pulls a blinder and wins the grand final.
Those two are crazy drivers.
Round 2 took us to Berlin,
The Spaniards.
Germany, where we had some exciting battles, and we also saw the start of the Spanish dominance.
Serrano leads, but Ura's got the inside line here on Kaiderbrin in the middle sector. Can he make it stick through into the left-hander? He can, and Gallo's there as well. De Bruyne loses 2 places. Jose Serrano makes it 2 wins from 2 races in the Nations Cup here in Berlin. What a performance from the Spaniard.
Round 3 in Los Angeles was a bit of a banger, as Paul Ura managed to stop Serrano going 3 for 3, and also got the sweet taste of vindication for his little bit of a slip-up in Berlin.
In we go to the first turn, Ura on the inside, knows a spot over Paul Ura. He comes across the timing line to take a commanding victory. Paul Ura wins World Series 3 in the Nations Cup in LA.
Yeah.
So here we are at the World Finals in beautiful Fukuoka, where anything can and probably will happen.
さあそれではネーションズカップのドライバーの皆さんの登場です。大きな拍手で出迎えてください。Let's meet the drivers of the Nations Cup. From Canada, Samuel Cardinal. From Brazil, Adriano Carrasa. From France, Thomas Laboutelie. From Chile, Angel Inostroza.
I don't know if we saw him last time.
From Australia, Guy Barbara. And from the Netherlands, Kai de Bruyne.
The Nations Cup features the best 12 drivers in the world from the 2025 online qualifiers. 9 countries are participating in the Nations Cup World Series this season. Spain, France and Japan are the most represented countries with 2 drivers each. Today, the time trial session sets the grid for race 1. Across races 1 and 2, points are rewarded.
I'm gonna go fill my cup real quick, Jeff.
The grid
it's gonna take me a minute.
Race. In the grand final, all drivers compete for double points. A final chance to shake up the leaderboard. In the end, only one driver will be crowned the Nations Cup champion.
You can stop.
Okay. Oh, is it me?
Yeah.
Okay. 宮園選手です。大きな拍手。宮園 on stage. So.
Fans, a lot of fans.
Yeah. You know, it's home soil, so I'm sure that will help. We just had a tailwind here, so will that help him? Let me ask. 地元です。応援すごいです。ね、日本選手を応援してる皆さんどうですか？助けになりますか？
もちろん昨日はなんというか変にお腹痛かったんですけど今日はいい感じのプレッシャーかかっているのできっと皆さんにいいレースがお見せできると思います。
Yesterday, I had a stomach ache in a bad way.
Oh, okay.
But today, I'm nervous in a good way.
Okay, good,
So I'm
good
confident
enough.
for today.
Okay, this is good. And obviously in Los Angeles, you were very aggressive. Are we going to do this today, we think?
LA ではものすごいアグレッシブだったわけですけど、今日はどうしましょう？
今日はやはり1年間の最後のレースなので、周りもかなりアグレッシブだと思うのでしっかり周りを見ながら、アクシデントに巻き込まれないように、レースをやっていくことを目標に進めていければなと思ってます。
So it's a final race, so everybody would be aggressive. So I might check, look around the other drivers, what the other drivers do, and not be involved in a crash, and just go to the end.
Classic Miyazono. Okay, one final question. Takuma, you've been with us for a really long time in Gran Turismo World Series. How has the level of competition improved over the years, you think?
長年ずっとね、you know already. He doesn't need a translation anyway. これまでね、長年もうずっとグランツーリスモを戦ってきたわけですけど、その競技のレベルの上がり方っていうのはどうご覧になってますか？
もう毎年毎年上がってきてて僕はもう8年間ずっと出てるんですけど多分今年が一番レベル高いと思いますし僕もかなりいい年なので正直なかなか厳しい状況ではあるんですけどやはり去年のチャンピオンとして、情けなところは見せられないので最後は笑って終えられるように頑張ります。
I'm in the competition for 8 years. And definitely this year is the highest level. And I'm getting a little bit older, so I might, I have to be confident, but I'll do everything that I can as a defending champion.
All right, I think it's time that we put this nervous energy that's on this stage into something good. Let's give them all a big one round of applause before they start, and we'll throw it back up to Tom and Jimmy.
大きな拍手をお送りください。
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Jules and Sasha. Let's have a look at the points rankings then for 3 rounds into where we are now ahead of the World Finals. Jose Serrano leads it. You can see a 5-point swing he has over his compatriot Paul Ura, who was the winner last time out in Los Angeles. Valerio Gallo up there as well.
Serrano's just got to be pretty decent then.
Well.
Top 3, top 4.
Yet to score though so far in 2025. Surely they're going to be able to get some points here today, but are they going to be able to challenge for more positions than that? Here is your driver lineup. We've had the same 12 over the course of the season so far. And Jimmy, the momentum at the top of the table is very much with the 2 Spaniards.
Yeah, it's really hard to argue against that, really. Serrano and Paul Ura both looking extremely strong over practice and qualifying.
Why aren't I in this?
They know how to
I stepped out so someone else can drive.
Of course, if you're
obviously,
that
dude.
Pressure, it can really go against you. But of course, we can't count out people like Miyazono, but like Gallo, both past champions, all very much capable of doing it again.
Yeah, no doubt
about it. Jimmy!
In terms of the format for tonight, we've got 2 races for you. Then we've got a grand final as well. Let's have a look at the first set of circumstances for the drivers, because of course, being the Nations Cup, we can throw anything at these guys. And we've got the brand new Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, part of the Spec 3 update that came to Gran Turismo 7 earlier on this month in the Gran Turismo
we know Jimmy
500B, essentially a 90s formula car.
And with a little bit of a twist, this has an engine swap. The engine from the Espas F1 V10 Renault engine in this thing. So sounds glorious. And earlier, our competitors had to try and tame this car for qualifying around the Montreal circuit. It was Cardinal who set the early pace.
Ooh, this could be a fun car.
His Canadian liveried 3,500 there, doing a 1:15.2. Carrazzo early on making his one mistake into the wall of champions. I mean, that's one way to become a champion, I guess.
Yeah, bitterly disappointed there was Adriano Carrazza, and you can see the visible frustration there for him as he made his way round that final corner to come across the line, being the last of the qualifiers so far. This is kind of Bruni. He's always been a bit of a hot lap specialist, and he was on imperious form out on the track at this point. He came across the timing line, and wasn't enough to better everybody else. It certainly was. Going to provisional pole position. Then it was all eyes on Kylian Drumont, the flying Frenchman. Will he be able to depose Kyle Brun's quickest time? Not quite, sadly. Only third best for him.
And interesting, of course, Takumi Miyazono, someone we tend to expect to be quite a sharp end in his downforce base cars, going wide down left, just touching the grass up to slow him down slightly on the way to the line. In the end, only good enough for fourth position for Takumi Miyazono, but then dethroned slightly by a pole Euro. That was Jose Serrano, our current points leader. What can he do? Very important qualifying session for the Spanish driver. Looking good through the first two sectors, but that 15.2 by Kyle de Bruin, mighty, and just proving to be slightly too much for Serrano, who slots in third position. Kyle de Bruin there. Yeah, that's how you want to start your weekend, isn't it? Get that pole and get that out of the way.
Certainly is. Not the first time that we've seen the Dutchman on pole position. So confirmation of the results from qualifying and indeed how the starting grid will line up. Kyle de Bruin is on pole then with Samuel Cardinal alongside him on the front row. Then it's Serrano, Drumont, Jura and Miyazono, Laboutelet and
Carrazza screwed up by hitting that wall.
Inestrosa, and then of course Carrazza, who we saw biffing it into the barrier on his one and only flying lap. Bitterly disappointed was Adriano Carrazza there. No surprise about that at all. Now, a new feature of course with Spec Free is the data logger feature. So basically we can overlay two laps. We've got Samuel Cardinal and Kyle de Bruin going head to head here. Different laps, different lines through the corners here, Jimmy. But what are you picking out from this?
Well, look at the lines at the top of the graph there. You can see the minimum speed between the two drivers. Of course, Kai with the blue line and Sam there with the yellow line. But just seeing a little bit more efficient and getting the car out of the corner is Kyle de Bruin. And it was only 0.05 of a second the gap at the end. But that was carried all the way through. You see there through the last chicane again, no difference whatsoever. It was all done in that middle sector. So it just goes to show around here, even the smallest little margins can come into play.
Certainly can. As you can see, the first of our 3 races here tonight about to get underway very shortly indeed at the Circuit Gilles.
Yeah, I think that's new on GT.
Race 1 of the Nations Cup. An amazing venue we have here in Fukuoka, the venue for the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series World Final. Some brilliant cars on display as well. The Ford GT there, we saw a Porsche 911, Mazda 787B there. That's your pick of the bunch.
I skipped him when I saw that thing. Amazing to have that here. And of course, having a live audience here as well adds a little something special, doesn't it?
Certainly does. Well, let's have a closer look, shall we, at the circuit the drivers are going to be competing on then. So, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for race 1, prototype cars, racing soft tyres, 8 laps. And when we say prototype cars, we don't just mean new cars. We've got a right variety of machinery.
Yeah, I like how it's just a prototype car. That's the whole category, but some amazing there, including the aforementioned 787.
So wait.
There's Toyota GT1s in there, there's Group C cars, we have...
Does each driver gets to choose a different vehicle, or they don't all have to drive the same car?
A bit of a reminder, Kyle de Bruin, of course, starting on pole with Sam Cardinal in second, Serrano third, Drumont in fourth, and here's the car selection, the first of our drivers have picked for their machines. Any surprises there for you, Tom?
A few, yeah. Just to be clear about this, by the way, in terms of how the drivers were able to select their cars, of course, if you qualify on pole position, you get the first pick, second position on the grid, you get the second pick, and so on and so forth. So obviously some drivers not quite able to get maybe the machinery that they would quite prefer, but I'm keen to see, for example, a Sauber Mercedes C9 going head-to-head with the LM Mazda Vision Gran Turismo machine. I mean, where else are you going to get something like that?
Yeah, this is a very Gran Turismo race, isn't it? I love stuff like this. A wide range of cars. 787.
I do like that they're different cars, actually.
In the lobby. I've tried to get anywhere there, but the security, they're on it around here. They are quick. Of course, Le Mans winner in 1991. Good year.
Yeah, this is live.
It was, yeah, 1991.
It was, yeah. I heard that there was a YouTuber that was born in that year as well.
No.
No idea about. A brilliant car. I must be honest, I've never seen you quite as excited about this. Why is it that this car excites you so much?
I mean, it's just something different, isn't it? It's that awesome 4-rotor rotary in the back, making that awesome shriek, and its performance too, of course.
Absolutely. We're about to get the first race underway for the Nations Cup here in Fukuoka.
All right.
Wow, we are so very close to the start of our first race of the grand finals of the Nations Cup. I can't believe it.
Let's check if Fukuoka's ready. I found a cute one. Konnichiwa.
Find the cute one.
誰を応援してますか? He's too nervous for the race. 準備はいいですか?
We're ready. Let's get this show on the road.
Thank you.
Race 1 of the Nations Cup for the Gran Turismo World Finals. They're about to get underway here at the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Let's see how this one is going to play out then. Prototype machinery and a variety of different cars over the course of this legendary circuit in the heart of Belgium. Kai de Bruyne in the Toyota GT1 on pole position. He's got Samuel Cardinal in the Sauber Mercedes C9 alongside. Then you've got Jose Serrano in the 2010 Peugeot 908. Kilian Drumont in the Nissan R92. That's going to be a tricky machinery on the limits, with Paul Ura in 5th place in the Jag XJR9. Then the Mazda 787B that we saw a few moments ago. Takuma Miyazono behind the wheel of that one. The Toyota GR10 Hybrid from 2021 is alongside Valerio Gallo's Porsche 962 from the 80s. Then you've got Takuma Sasaki in the Porsche 919. Guy Barbara in the Mazda LM55 Vision Gran Turismo. In a Stroza in the Audi R18 from 2016. And Adriano Carrazza in the Hyundai N Vision Gran Turismo machine. Now, Jimmy, as we said, variety of different machinery for this one. There's been a fair bit of balance and performance action going on as well.
Yeah, really tricky, because a lot of these cars, of course, would never race each other in periods. To get them to race
who am I picking?
Is one of the tasks of
Serrano's the fucking dude.
Here. But something to mention, of course, actually I go with some of these cars earlier on. In that 787B, very capable car around here, very quick in the corners. But that GT1 Toyota we've seen from practice, incredibly fast down the straights, but lacking in the corners. So it's going to be an interesting one, this. I don't really know how to call it right now.
No, absolutely not. And just to remind you of the points as well, it's double points on offer for the first and the second race compared to what we've had so far in the GT World Series. So 6 points was on offer for the wins in the first 3 events. Now it's 12 points on offer. That then gets doubled again for the grand final here tonight. So there's a lot to play for and a big opportunity for an upset in terms of the standings, with Jose Serrano, of course, still leading. Let's get the race underway then. The Nations Cup Race 1 here in Fukuoka is go, with Kai de Bruyne leading down towards
here we
that
go.
source, with
Can
Samuel
Bruyne
Cardinal
hold on to
followed
this
by
lead?
Jose Serrano. Are going to see any dive bombs on the inside there. Looks like Miyazono was trying to lunge through in the Mazda 787B. He's now into 5th place as we come out on the run out of the source. Kai de Bruyne's gone from pole position down to 3rd, with Jose Serrano now occupying the front of this race.
Way wide there. Maybe didn't know how his car was going to react. Maybe got bumped.
Miyazono's all out of shape, nearly into the back of Kai de Bruyne. That cost him time, cost him a place also to Samuel Cardinal. So we're only about 3 or 4 corners old in this race, and now we've got a change of lead because we're 3 abreast down the start-finish straight. Serrano on the inside, Drumont in the middle, Kai de Bruyne on the outside. Who's last of the late breakers? Serrano it is that manages to retain the lead. Drumont into 2nd, and Miyazono somehow, after all of that drama from La Source and in towards Eau Rouge, manages to get himself into 3rd.
De Bruyne's had a mistake somewhere. He was down to P8 from pole position.
Where'd Bruyne go?
So
wow, Bruyne went all the way down to 10th. 11th.
Sasaki moving up as well.
I wonder if that car is just reacting weird for him or something, because he took that first turn so wide.
Profiting from all of that is Jose Serrano. Great start was really ideal for him as we're in the midfield there. Paul Ura battling against Sasaki. And you're seeing all the differences of these cars here. And getting a Stroza up to P5. Those hybrids really fast at the start here, but being held up slightly by this Jaguar. Look at that cork in the bottle of it. And they're all together. You can barely throw a towel over them.
Yeah, you can see the newer prototype cars are just so much quicker in this mid-section, the technical part of the circuit. When you get onto the long straights, that's when the older machinery will prove to be beneficial. But look at the gap the top 2 have got already in this stage.
Wow, dude. That was fast to get that gap.
In their pockets over Paul Ura, and you've got cars there that are separated by about 18 years in terms of
honestly, Drumont should just follow Serrano, not even battle him, continue getting the lead.
Nissan as we come down in towards the bus stop chicane. Drumont having a look, Serrano going for a slightly defensive line into there, manages to get it all up as we see Ura going very deep down in towards the chicane, just about manages to hold position, but Miyazono and Sasaki ready to pounce behind as we start lap 2.
What a sight so far in this race. Look at that gap between 2nd and 3rd. Paul Ura got a lot to do to try and bring that back from now. Meanwhile, the rest of the pack goes through the source. Serrano leading down the hill with a gap now. 8/10 of a second to Drumont, who we now ride on board with this awesome Nissan Group C car. What a camera angle this is. Think about the power this thing has driving through the rear wheels. It's very tricky to get through the midfield. And now look at that. The legs of this thing, holding it in 4th gear, 305 Ks, nearly 310 10K. So a speed difference, almost run into the back of Jose Serrano there, but you're seeing the strength of that thing. So if Drummond can hold on through this midsection, he can attack them in the first and last with a much more based around top speed. Here's Miyazono. He's trying to
all over him,
here
dude.
from Pole Euro at 787B, running well so far, but there's now a big gap between the leaders and the second pack.
Gallo and De Bruyne under investigation for a collision. Gallo's down in 10th place, De Bruyne's in 7th position, so De Bruyne clearly in the wars on the opening lap there of that race, and it's cost him a fair bit. It might be set to cost him a little bit more as well. Down in towards Pouhon we go.
Bruyne made his way back up though.
Let's see if we can pick out what happened between Gallo and De Bruyne. So Gallo's there in 10th place. Where's De Bruyne going to infer in all of this? So Gallo got to the side of De Bruyne, and that sent Guy Barbara into the pit wall on the exit of the first corner as well. That's why the Australian driver is now down into 11th place.
Guy Barbara can't catch a break, can he? It seems that every time he comes to one of these, something happens, he's off the back of the field. But same for Cardinal as well, strong qualifying, now P10. So
I think we're going to put this PlayStation thing in the top right, so they'll probably be
V12,
better up there.
Mighty Jaguar up into P3, and Miyazono not really defending there as the two hybrid cars, the Audi and the Porsche, follow on through behind. Well, what an interesting combination. Two Group C cars, two hybrid cars, they both dug up the inside. Their camera cuts away at the worst time possible. Inestrosa, I think, has got by in the Porsche up to P4. Sasaki there, still though in...
Look at that gap, dude!
Sorry, in the R18.
Inestrosa up 7 places from where he started on the grid. He was 11th, just to remind you as well. So the Chilean really making some good ground in the opening stage of this race. Very impressive. It's only an 8-lapper, which doesn't sound that long, but of course it's a very long lap here at Spa-Francorchamps, about 7 kilometres in total, as Laboutelet has come into the pit lane then here. So clearly some problems for the Frenchman, because we weren't expecting any pit stops in this race. Not quite sure what has happened to him, but that's not a good way for him to start proceedings for the World Finals. Meanwhile, Inestrosa in the slipstream of Jura, looking to the inside down at Lake Coombe. Can he make it stick? Side by side they go. Jura's got the inside.
Laboutelet get screwed over somehow?
And then Inestrosa does go through the Audi R18 and into 3rd place. That's opened the cork in the bottle. Look at it. The two followers of Miyazono and Sasaki are
Something
ready
had to have happened.
well.
What a great little
They're not even supposed to pit this race.
Two Group C cars taking on cars far younger than them, and still just about managing to hold on. I think Inestrosa in 3rd place now. I think he's got to try and look forward, try and chase down Drummond Serrano. They've had an easy time, I think, so far. Update on Laboutelet there. I think that's just a rage quit, Tom. 2 in 2 days from him, man. Poor showing. Don't like to see that.
Disappointing there for Thomas Laboutelet then. Either way, to have ended his race early. We go through in towards the chicane then, in the middle part of it.
Rage
Look
quit.
at the gap there that Inestrosa has got to make up. 3.3 seconds, a tall order. What he'll have to hope for is Drummond.
Miyazono fell to 5th. He was 3rd.
We have seen a few exchanges of position.
The other Japanese drivers behind him.
The rest of the field. Out of Paul Freya we go, and in towards Blanchimont as we head towards the bus stop, and you can hear the howl of that Mazda 787B in the distance as we ride on board with Sasaki in the Porsche 919 into the braking zone. And look at the straight line speed. Inestrosa's got the inside line here with Paul Jura trying to attack.
Dude,
the
top two's got a crazy lead.
That's a car that Inestrosa is piloting of the.
And Serrano's actually leaving Drummond a little bit behind.
And no such threat is able to be made by Paul Jura.
So in the background, that GT1 popping into frame with Kai de Bruyne. And what an awful start from Kai de Bruyne. We were sort of saying earlier with Kai, he's really fast over a single lap and just can't always seem to get it together in the race. And the same, nothing seemingly happened there as well. But we go on board with Miyazono again using that draft, and they're going to be a bit quicker than this Audi. This straight line, it's slow down the straights. This Audi, look at it, really slow.
Wow!
Here comes the Mazda. Through they go past.
Holy!
787B with Miyazono. Awesome pictures here as you make it through Lecom. And what an awesome little back and forth
by that guy.
Hybrids. They charge up the hybrid.
He must have made a mistake or something.
Zone, so they'll get a burst initially out the corner, then they're slow down into the straight. Whereas
Jura made it into 3rd.
What's hybrid, they say? Just let's just burn more dinosaurs. That's how they do it.
Yeah, certified 90s moment there. Yeah. Super fast down the straight with those two cars. Innistroza will be right on board with him. My apologies. I said he was in a Toyota a few minutes ago. Of course, he's in an Audi R18. I need to get my eyes tested. Coming down into towards Puon we go as we ride on board with the Chilean driver. Interesting fact for you, by the way. Half of this grid, 50%, they're all former champions in one way or another. Some in the Nations Cup, some in the Manufacturers Cup. But a very, very well-esteemed grid in this. And that is why we're seeing such close competition on track. Through this chicane we go, as Miyazono is now going to be the driver that is under threat here from Innistroza.
Innistroza's all over him, man.
Serrano and Innistroza both part of the winning combination for the Manufacturers Cup yesterday, so they're on a bit of a high at the moment with that momentum. We enjoyed this battle yet again. Definitely the most interesting part of this race. This little scrap for third. As at the front, you see that Euro is just trying to get away in the Jaguar, but they can't do it. As soon as they break down here again into the bus stop, it's a big recharge zone for these hybrids. They're going to have a huge burst of speed coming out of
Drumont's keeping up with Serrano, though.
Get back on through past the Group C cars.
Not a great race so far for Kai de Bruyne, as we know from pole position. He's down into 7th place. Also for Sam Cardinal as well. We've hardly mentioned the Canadian. He's into 10th position at the moment, considering where he started on the grid. He was on the front row. So the two drivers who were very quick in qualifying.
Second ahead on the second place guy.
Not translated into a strong race result for them here so far. Still a few laps left to go though, as we come over the rise of Eau Rouge and Radion. Innistroza all over the wheel tracks of Takuma Miyazono here. So Audi R18 versus Mazda 787B versus Jaguar XJR9 as well. Down the straight.
Drumont ended up catching up to Serrano a decent amount.
Just moves over to the right-hand side, back
5
into the traditional racing line for the braking zone. Miyazono not able to launch an attack into Leiku.
Yeah, I saw Sam look at the gap for the lead there. Drumont getting much closer down that third sector. Again, that Nissan that he's piloting, trying to follow Jose Serrano.
His car might be better on like some straights or something.
The racer in that Jaguar, so there's still pace there for sure. And the lap times all super similar there. So the top 3 drivers have all done a time within 300 of each other.
Yeah, exactly. So fastest lap, but it doesn't count for much because, of course, the gap's going to stay exactly the same. So Euro, despite the fact that he's pushing on like he's left the gas on, as Miyazono's got a 1-second penalty for colliding with another car. Now that's going to be very detrimental to him because you've got Innistroza, you've got Sasaki.
1 second!
In a very close distance. So it's going to drop him down a minimum of 2 places here, and it might bring him off of the back of that group
why is
as
he
well.
at a
Let's
second?
look at what happened then for Takuma Miyazono. So we're away for this one, then coming down in towards the first corner, side by side, and Miyazono just biffed it into the back of Kylian Drumont. That is what sent the Toyota wide at the start of this race and cost Sam Cardinal positions.
That's what happened. We were wondering why he went out so wide.
Got over there. I remember seeing that. How did he get there? But that apparently is how that happened. So Paul Euro then, his job's going to become slightly easy now that Miyazono's off the back of that little pack here. Let's see if that 787B now can get back in touch with these hybrids now at the draft. So here's a battle for the lead. Jose Serrano leading still in that Peugeot. Behind him, though, Kylian Drumont in that Group C car. Now, this is where that Nissan has the legs. Watch that gap as we go over Eau Rouge and Radion and up towards Les Combes. The live point stands on your screen now. Unsurprisingly, Jose Serrano would increase his lead if the race were to finish as it is now. But still, 2 and a bit laps left as we're on board with Drumont. Look at this in the tunnel.
Serrano and Drumont are just fucking handling business, to be honest. Look, his car's straight.
That far back. That's a different postcode. I'm not sure that's going to happen.
No, exactly. If he was a half a second closer or so, you know he would be very much within striking.
Is it the straights that he's catching him on?
As you say,
Serrano dips on him on the corners.
So lap 6 out of 8 we're on. Pretty steady at the front end of this race. Serrano and Drumont, that gap sort of ebbing and flowing, but not really coming down to a point where Drumont is able to.
That car's better on straight, bad on corners. Got it.
Technical second part of the circuit here. That's where the newer car, the car that's Jose Serrano, the 918 that he's piloting, is going to be at an advantage relative to the Nissan that Kylian Drumont is driving.
That's a good middle sector though by Drumont. This is where Serrano's been sort of gapping him over the last couple of laps. Let's see what he's like through the chicane here and through the Stablos, because that's where Serrano needs to build the gap. He's vulnerable on the straight. So here we are, out of the right-hander. See the drive of the Peugeot out of there, great acceleration. But now he's got to try and contend with 700 horsepower on Nissan Group C goodness. So up towards the bus stop here. Is this corner flat for Drumont? It must be in this thing at the speed.
I didn't get a great sleep last night.
Oh, easy. But look at this now.
A lot of bad dreams.
Serrano.
Holy!
No, But you have to think, Tom, he's thinking about something maybe the end of until they come.
Feels like a bit of a dress rehearsal, doesn't it? Serrano was slightly deep in the middle part there of the bus stop chicane, but due to the nature of that corner, you can sort of gather up that mistake, and it doesn't really cost him too much time. Subsequently, he has a massive boost coming out of the final turn, going down in towards the first corner. Run down in towards Eau Rouge and Radion. It's just again ebbing and flowing.
Serrano's got this, man.
Second to the better. Last time around in terms of
they are light years ahead of everyone else.
Separating Jose Serrano and Kylian Drumont. Paul Ura's challenge looks to have come to a bit of a halt, unfortunately. He was in the 203s last time, so whether that's a mistake or whether that car is just chewing through its tyres a bit more remains to be seen. But either way, Ura not quite close enough. Someone who is closing though is Kylian Drumont. He pulls alongside Jose Serrano as we come towards the.
He wants to just kind of fake him out there a little bit, make it look like he's making a move, but he doesn't want
to. That's his best opportunity yet to challenge for the race lead. Maybe that is the dress rehearsal that we are seeing from the Frenchman as we get ready to go into the final lap and a half of this race.
And you couldn't have two more different cars, could you? A Peugeot diesel versus a Group C Nissan. Meanwhile, here is Sasaki in the 919 Evo going almost into the back of Inestrosa, dive up the inside there. Very opportunistic. I don't think he meant to go for that, to be honest, but he saw himself going up the inside. That was that. So there is Sasaki in the 919.
It's a rare sight that actually.
Sasaki gets fourth. He's right behind Ura.
Actually fighting with one another in this race. Fantastic job that Sasaki has done to get himself into fourth position. Third
trying to make him nervous.
Even better though, more
trying to make him try to draw out some mistakes.
12 points is the maximum for the race lead, all the way down to 1 point, of course, and double the points for the grand final. Nose tail we are though still from third all the way down to sixth place at the moment, with Miyazono bookending this one in the Mazda 787B.
So I'm keeping one eye on the gap between Serrano and Drumont here, because that's going to be super important coming on to the last lap. Keep an eye though also on this light, Ura heading this train. Miyazono has managed to climb his way onto the back of the train after that penalty, so he's not out of it yet. We've got 4 places up for grabs in this last.
Miyazono made his way back.
To the inside, Sasaki to defend from Inestrosa. He's going to try a long way around. Is he going to make it stick? He's still just about got a nose there. Inestrosa making that work. Now it's a drag race down the source. Sasaki's going to win that one. And on to the final lap of the race. Is Drumont close enough to Serrano for a move? Oh, on the inside goes Sasaki.
Can he make it stick into La Source? He's got the move, he's got the place, he's got track position. He's through and into third position.
I don't think Drumont's going to be able to make it work.
Vulnerable as we come down the hill and head in towards Eau Rouge and Radion for the final time.
Sasaki in third.
Through into the podium places for the first time in this race, but now Paul Ura is coming under threat here from Angel Inestrosa, and now he's attacking Takuma Sasaki. Inestrosa as well. We're nearly 3 abreast. We are 3 abreast. Miyazono's in the middle and coming through in the 787B. Gets 2 places in the space of 1 straight as we head in towards Lake Coon for the final time. Ura's in third. Miyazono's up through and into second. Inestrosa now, the driver who's gone from attacking to defending to losing places, as Sasaki's on his inside through the right-hander, and now Inestrosa is down to 6th.
And look who's back in the mirrors. Akira Miyazono in that orange and green liveried Mazda.
Miyazono made his way back.
Climbing his way back up the positions after that penalty earlier on. And now Paul Ura knows he's going to have a challenge on his hands to keep that third place to the end of the lap. And then Miyazono crowding Sasaki there to the edge of a circuit. A bit late that move, but you're seeing the difference in acceleration here. That 787B cannot contend with the hybrid power of the 919 Evo and the Audi, but only half a lap to go. Maybe they keep it.
That was kind of crazy the way he blocked.
Yeah, these drivers know that these points are absolutely crucial in the early stage of the
or B2B or Bitobi, thanks so much, man. And Overfit, thank you so much, man. Appreciate it, man. It's hard to believe you guys.
And hold on to as much of a lead as he possibly can at the
thank you guys.
top of the table. On board we ride there with Kylian Drumont. 1 more opportunity left to challenge for the race lead, and he's just too far away from Jose Serrano. We're coming towards the braking zone at this point, and I don't think, unless he goes for a Dandare move on the brakes, Drumont looking to the inside. The door gets shut though by Jose Serrano, who blocks the line and holds firm as we come into the final corner. Jose Serrano wins race 1 of the Nations Cup here at Spa-Francorchamps from Kylian Drumont, and Miyazono is through on Paul Ura for third place and then dragged to the line.
Miyazono ended up getting third after that, dude, which is crazy. Sasaki almost ended up getting third.
And Angel Inestrosa, a fantastic race there with all different types of machinery, and that is a brilliant way to start off proceedings here.
And Serrano was getting pretty pressured the whole race too.
I thought for a second Drumont was going to get that done. That was a huge lunge by the Frenchman right at the end there, but just about getting the car slowed down. Serrano, what a strong start to his campaign, leading coming into this weekend, extends his lead now as well. Looking very good for the Spanish driver. Of course, I mentioned as well, it's going to be Miyazono.
The straight line speed's crazy for Germain, yeah. Serrano has to make up a lot of time on corners to make to last on the straights. Not to mention he has the draft, right?
Nations Cup. I don't want to spoil things too much, but we have sort of had a taster as to what we're expecting for the car and circuit combination.
What's it you say, Tom? You've got the flavour.
I've got the flavour. I have definitely got the flavour for that after what we've just seen there. But that's going to be even more exciting because, you know, we're throwing a completely different set of circumstances for these drivers. And that race was an absolute thriller. Let's look through some highlights of it, shall we? Amazingly, Kyder Brun and Samuel Cardinal started it on the front row of the grid.
Bruin got screwed right at the bat.
In the first corner, though, it all kicked off. Miyazono was a bit late on the brakes. He went into Drummond, who subsequently hit De Bruyne, sent him wide and lost positions. Then it all kicked off a bit further behind there as well. That's Kyder Brun, who was then in the mid-pack at the start of the second lap. It sent Guy Barbara into the wall. But the battle for the majority of that race was focused on the final podium places. We had Yura, Miyazono, Inestrosa and Sasaki all dueling for position pretty much corner by corner.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cool seeing these Group C cars go up against these LMP1 prototypes. And at the front of the field, you've got a diesel Peugeot leading from 1,000 horsepower Nissan. I love Gran Turismo, man. This is what it's all about for me. But the fighting was strong.
Last time it was 2 races, I believe.
Changed positions about 5-6 times a lap.
We go to the bathroom real quick.
At this point, Miyazono was in 6th position, but he wouldn't be there for long. Look at this draft. He would get through here, overtaking the 2 hybrid cars that have high downforce configurations here. Through he goes, just squeezing by, almost get hit into the grass. A little bit of a contact with Inestrosa there as well. He comes back onto the line and then onto the back of Paul Europe. But it was this man, Jose Serrano, leading from pretty much lights to flag. Takes his first win of the weekend. Drummond in second, and Miyazono coming home. That last podium position, 3rd place.
Great start for Jose Serrano's championship challenge here this weekend. Disappointing end, though, for the man who, of course, was leading the championship prior to the start of this one. Paul Ura finished in 4th place, lost a handful of points to Jose Serrano. So, to my maths, I reckon they're going to be tied on points at the top of the table. Drummond there in 2nd, Miyazono in 3rd. Then you've got Sasaki, Inestrosa, etc. Valerio Gallo down there in 7th place ahead of Kyder Brun and Sam Cardinal, who both started on the front row of the grid. Adriano Carrazza there bookending the points in 10th position.
Yeah, so Serrano was leading going in, Tom, so he'll be...
Beg your pardon, yeah, of course he was.
He'll be further ahead, if anything, there. But, yeah, I mean, that's our first set of points for the day there. I mean, commiserations there to Guy Barbara and Lamutale, but, yeah, very much looking forward to seeing what comes next.
So
sorry, boys. Energy drink running through me.
Serrano, hi. How are you doing? I mean, I feel like you're very comfy. You've got your strategy down, which is
honestly, dude, it's so fucking good. It doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, the race was
what are you doing differently, Serrano?
I had Killian behind me from 1 second to 1/10, so I was calm with him because I knew that I had a good car for the race. So yeah, so happy with the result.
I mean, it was great. You didn't know it wasn't too stressful.
Yeah, that's okay.
He's more aerodynamic, bro. Is that a ball joke?
自分はね、1秒から1秒間半ぐらい離れてたんで、まあ安心して走っていたということなんですけど、じゃあプレッシャーはなかったんでしょうか? So you didn't have any pressure from Killian, you know? Didn't feel any pressure?
Breathing down your neck.
I'm really calm right now.
Really? 今とっても落ち着いてる。全くプレッシャーなかったということで。Wow.
What breakfast did you have this morning? I need to know the magic.
It's a secret juice.
It's a secret juice.
It's been, you know,
he got it from Paulo Costa.
Year this year. I mean, what do you think? What has been different to other years? Do you think, in terms of your mindset and how you've driven?
I think I am very confident in myself. So it's the big difference for this year, and I hope I win the title this year again.
はい、今年ね、非常に調子がいいんですけど、今までとね一番の違いは、
I mean, dude, he has to really screw up in the next race to not get it. I think.
Confidence, positive mental.
I think if even he gets like top 7, it's still fine.
Yeah, sensei.
Sensei.
Good luck holding this motherfucker to
Congratulations.
top 7.
おめでとうございます。大きな拍手を送ってください。
Check him PlayStation, dude.
Well, let's get confirmation of the points standings then. Jose Serrano, of course, taking the win here for the first race of the weekend in the Nations Cup. He was already leading the
That's
championship.
clutch shit too, dude, to
one,
be able
and
to
now
do
look
that.
at a 10-point swing.
Like,
Looks
bro!
Like don't forget, of course, there's a
He's got 10 points on this.
Double that for the final race, 24 points. So there's still a big chance for it to change in terms of trajectory. One poor race can cost you very dearly indeed. So Paul Ura there, 4th place he was over the line in that first race, but you can see there now 10 points the gap that sits between him. It means that Drummond, Miyazono, Gallo, etc. have all closed that gap up behind.
Yes, it's very tight really for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th place, but that's 10 points. I mean, we do have, double points, as you say, for the grand final, but that's still a decent gap there for Jose Serrano. And you saw his reaction there. It's kind of like, yep, okay, I've got that first bit done, 2 more to go.
Absolutely, yeah, and it's not the first time that we've seen some fantastic racing action so far this weekend. Of course, we had the Manufacturers' Cup here yesterday, and it was
poor Bruin, man.
Wasn't it?
First turn, got a little unlucky.
Racing action, which went down right to the checkered flag. But not only that, we also unveiled this, the first event in the Middle East happening for the 2026 Gran Turismo World Series. We're going to Abu Dhabi on the 28th of March to kick off our year. What an absolutely thrilling prospect that is. It was announced in front of the crowd here in Fukuoka. We had His Excellency down on the stage, and then of course we crowned our champion as well in the Manufacturers' Cup. We saw Porsche starting on pole position in the grand final. We saw battles though with Mazda, which went right down to the closing stages of the race.
It did. We thought that it would be a showdown between Mazda and Porsche, but in the end it was Sato for Porsche bringing the car home and giving that manufacturer's title to Angelo Stroza, and of course his other teammate Jose Serrano leading today as well. So momentum's with him. You got to say, Thomas, looking good for Jose.
Anyway, that was then. This is now. Of course, we're here in the Nations Cup. We've just had the first race. It was an absolute corker. Second race, I'm sure, is going to be much the same because we are going to the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, part of the Spec 3 update that came in Gran Turismo 7 very recently, and we're going to be in the Gran Turismo.
Look at that big straight.
500B. Now, if you haven't seen this car, it's a 90s Formula car, and instead of a V8 engine, we've swapped it out with
a lot of straights.
a 10 engine in it, which makes it even trickier to drive. The starting grid for this one is determined by the order of the results from race 1, 17 laps, 2 times fuel consumption.
Each tire type must be used.
There as well. And crucially,
I like this one.
There, a standing start.
And no, I drove these things the other day, and they are hard to get off the line. If you get away without wheel spinning, then things have gone very right for you, to tell you that. Here's the predicted strategy.
It's always interesting.
Nice and easy. Soft tires,
interesting
of course,
to see
being a bit quicker than the medium tire, but we're a bit
what
quicker,
they
and
pick
vice
first.
versa for the mediums. I don't think there's going to be any fueling needed here at all. It's all about just making sure you use that tire properly. So there is some scope for maybe an undercut or something, a bit of strategy, but really it's going to be about just driving the thing well.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the starting grid. Then, of course, as we said, it reflects the results from race 1. So Serrano on pole with Drummond in 2nd place. Miyazono, Ura, Sasaki in a
Solo 13. Thanks so much for 7, man. Welcome, brother. XP Johnson, TriStar as well, dudes. Appreciate it. Marky, Matt Maddox, Overfit a little earlier. Thanks for your prime, man. If you're still here, bro. Much love, guys.
So let's have a look at this F3500B then. This, of course, is a car that came to Gran Turismo 7 earlier on this year, and I have to say, it's already a firm favourite amongst drivers and fans.
Yeah, if you're of a certain age, like myself, this is a bit of a nostalgia bomb right here. Amazing thing, as Tom said earlier, V10 engine from the Espace F1 crammed into the back as a Renault V10. Over 800 brake horsepower, and something that weighs just over half a ton. Extremely fast, extremely fun, lots of aero as well, of course. Definitely a skill-based car, this one.
And Jimmy, a standing start for the driver. Yep. So how does that change things? Because obviously a rolling start, you sort of negate the risk away from the lights.
It's really interesting. The standing starts, you stand to lose a lot, because if you get too twitchy off a line, which is very hard.
Stand to lose a lot.
To go out, it's very easy just to give that bit too much throttle. Once you start those wheels spinning, it's pretty much impossible to bring it back.
Absolutely. Well, anyway, let's go down to Jules and Saturday ahead of the second race of the evening for the Nations Cup here in Fukuoka. Time to go racing.
All right, race 2 is coming up, and the gap is huge against Serrano.
Serrano is ahead, but that doesn't mean anything. Okay, Fukuoka, are you ready for race 2 in the Nations Cup?
Are you ready? Let's go!
I mean, it means a little bit. He could have. What place does Serrano have to get here to maintain the championship? Has anybody done that math? I don't even know. And that's if Ura, What's that other guy's name?
World Series World Finals about to
Jura?
get underway.
If that's only if he gets first, too.
Lining up on the grid for this
Oh,
one.
final
Let's
race
see
is
how it
2
is
times
going
points.
to work out. Then a standing start
Oh.
at the Circuit
Oh,
Gilles Villeneuve
sheesh.
in these 90s Formula cars. Pole position, Jose Serrano, the winner from race 1. Alongside him on the front row is Kylian Drumont in his Gran Turismo F3 500B. Then Takuma Miyazono heading the second row of the grid with Paul Ura for company, chasing down Serrano's championship lead. Sasaki in P5 on the grid with Angel Estrosza, 6th position.
These cars
for
are
Chile,
fucking
and made
cool.
some good progress from where he qualified in the first race. Gallo lines up P7, and he has got Kai de Bruyne for company alongside. Samuel Cardinal started from the front row, finished P9 in race 1. Adriano Carrazza completes the top 10 for Brazil. Then it's Guy Barbara in 11th position, and alongside him should have been Thomas Laboutelet. Anyway, all eyes on the 5 red lights then. Who will be the king in Canada as we get the second race underway here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve?
Wait, is Laboutelet not racing?
We are racing.
I see a screen off.
The first corner, but keep an eye out for Kylian Drumont. Is side by side, and Miyazono is in there as well. Drumont is way off onto the car park. As we go into the first corner, he goes down and drops behind Serrano for the race lead. So Serrano into second, and Drumont banging into the barrier. So he's already picked up a penalty for his dramas in the first couple of corners, and now he's gone down like a tabletop and into the wall.
There's a huge crash in the background as well. Oh wow, that was chaos at the start. I mean, the upshot is Serrano is now.
What happened to Drumont? Drumont has a red thing next to his name. That's a penalty. How much damage does your car take? Is it going to affect how much he can run?
Into the back of Drumont, and who got just shoved over the grass. Got a penalty for going over the grass, I think, and then that was it. So,
Serrano's starting on softs. A lot of the guys are starting on mediums.
What a start.
Well, we always talk about pressure, don't we, in these events, and so that proved to be the case there for Paul Ura. And has he succumbed to that pressure? 10 points deficit he has from Jose Serrano at the top of this championship table, and that could be set to take a
What
third
happened with Drumont,
for now. Anyway, just to look at the tyres for the first time in this race. Serrano, Miyazono and Ura are the drivers who are on the soft compound. Ura, of course, desperate to make up ground, courtesy of the fact he's on that soft tyre and needs to be in the top 3 positions. But already you can see the gap between themselves and Takuma Miyazono as he goes through for third place down at turn 1. Should be nice and easy there for Paul Ura with the extra grip under braking and in the mid-phase of the corner. Anyway, come back to that in a few moments. Let's have a look at what happened. Keep an eye out for Paul Ura there in 4th place. He's going to go careering into the back of Miyazono and Drumont.
Just didn't break. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Got unsighted, but I mean that's a very clear. Just
Okay, so what happens after now?
And Drumont there had no choice but to go over the grass. So real shame there for the Frenchman. That's after a very strong race in race 1. He's himself a P9 now.
Yeah, disappointing there for Kylian Drumont, not through any fault of his own, I might like to add there as well. Meanwhile, sharp end of this one, that's the joy for Jose Serrano, who's just been able to keep his nerve calm and keep his power to drive for now. He's up into the lead of this one with a second or so's advantage over Takuma Miyazono. Miyazono just sort of flirting on the edge of that slipstreaming range in this race, but certainly not close enough to launch an attack at this point. And just to remind you, of course, there are 2 tyre compounds in this one. They must use each tyre compound at least once in this race. So we'll see how that one is going to work out. It's a 17-lapper. It's a fairly
mediums
long,
are slower than the softs,
so
right?
You want to try and extend those soft tyres for as much as you possibly can, but it's finding that balancing point, isn't it? It's being on those soft tyres for as long as you get the performance.
Shouldn't Ura be penalized?
So that they go off a cliff. And then
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure they'll investigate.
A lot of strategy involved in that part of the racing here, but Serrano just eking out the gap to Miyazono. Of a replay on board, Kylian Drumont trying to come back through the field. That means on the guy Barbara there, big lunge, going far off the circuit and then back down to P9. So some frustration there for sure for Kylian Drumont. And you can't blame him really, can you? No fault of his own, he's pretty much out of the race, but anything can happen. 1.7 seconds is the gap to the front.
That's racing. Sometimes it be like that.
Nations Cup champion, part of Team Spain. Of course, that format back there being chased for the double champion and reigning champion, Takuma Miyazono.
Still no word on the investigation for Paul Ura down at the first corner. There we go.
Penalty Ura. Plus 3 seconds. Ay, ay, ay.
Right, now that's going to really compromise his race because not only is he on the soft tyre, he's also going to be losing time, losing places as well. It's going to put him right out of sequence.
We've seen that from Ura in the past. Pressure does get to him a little bit. He does crack a little bit, and that's the grand example. Look at that, slowing down there, serving the pounce. Zaki through, Gallo through, will Carrazza get through as well there? No, just about, but still not ideal for the Spanish driver.
Yeah, now trying to attack and retaliate against Valerio Gallo. Down the start-finish straight we go. Euro has the inside line. Gets the move done quite easily into turn one. Carrazza's there really trying to pick up the pieces as well. He's also on the soft compound of tyre. He tried to make some ground from where he started. He's made up 4 places from 10th on the grid there, Carrazza. He just needs to do something there, does the Brazilian driver, as we ride on board with him now, because being mired in the pack there, you might as well throw something different at it and try and make some ground whilst the field is all concertinaed up. Through the middle part of the first lap, first sector we go, as Rumon's also picked up another penalty there, I can just see, for his troubles. Presumably that's for track limits, because we haven't seen anything otherwise, but it's just going from bad to worse for the Frenchman.
Damn. And that other guy is not even in this race, so I don't know if he just didn't want to do it. Something came up with something like that. I don't know. But Lugutli is not even racing this race. His screen was off on there. Yeah, no one was sitting in the spot.
Paul Euro trying to get back into the swing of things after his penalty. Sasaki in front there, just checking the mirrors.
He had to go to the bathroom, maybe.
Rocketing up behind him here. What a sight that is, breaking down. She came behind. Gallo looking to try and defend from Carrazza. Does do just about, but those two go side by side there. And then ahead, Paul Euro, now there you go. Looks easy, doesn't it? That tyre advantage really strong here.
Nicely done there for Paul Euro, makes the move clinically and decisively, exactly what he needed to do, but I think third is probably going to be the best that the Spaniard can hope for here. And you have to consider the fact that the drivers behind are on the medium tyres, Sasaki and Gallo, they're still very much within touching distance. So if you reverse that tyre compound, and we think we're towards the end of the race, of course that's going to leave Euro quite vulnerable now as well, isn't it, compared to the medium shod runners who will then subsequently be on the soft compound of tyre at this one.
And Serrano right now in a different league, 3 seconds down the gap to Miyazono. His last lap time was 7/10 faster than anyone in the field. Ridiculous pace from Jose Serrano, just not leaving anything to chance. A reminder of the points awarded for position here. Of course, for Serrano,
that's got to be tough to fly all the way to Japan and have something like that happen, and you just have to rage quit out.
Still early in this race here, long way to go. Pit stops to be made.
It's a long flight back.
To unfold all the playbook.
Certainly is. Down the back straight we go, in towards the chicane once more. Carrazza again pulls under the wheel tracks there of Valerio Gallo, not quite close enough to launch a move. Just a point to mention as well, by the way, the pit entry is right at the end of this long back straight. It's a fairly quick pit entry, and we saw on the race in the eSport team competition earlier on as Carrazza goes for the outside line here on Valerio Gallo. Gallo just about covers him off in towards
full experience though, yeah, without a doubt.
There, you think he'd have a bit more grip under braking, but has to turn tighter, then gets a bit of wheel spin and loses time out of the second corner. But just finishing off that point about the pit entry, very fast into there. Drivers are going to be careful to not cut the lines too much on the way in, because they will pick up a 3-second penalty if they do.
Yeah, I mean, we, again, something I practiced a bit earlier on is how fast can you box these cars? Very fast is the answer, and it is a very narrow margin to get through it at that speed. So on board with Valerio Gallo then in this F3500.
I mean, Serrano's cooking everyone right now, but he is on softs.
So nice and easy that lap. This is spinning the wheels in third gear. That's how much power these things have. Towards the hairpin now, late down the ranks, machine gun down through the gears into second for traction on exit. Try and get as nice and clean exit as possible, and then set yourself up for a sixth opportunity on Sasaki in front, which Gallo is doing. Gallo moving forward now, and Sasaki starting to falter a bit on that medium tyre.
Not the first time that we've seen this F3500B in the Gran Turismo World Series. We had it, of course, earlier on this season, and also last season as well, for that matter. On that occasion, it had the V8 engine in it. This V10, a little bit more torque, a little bit more power, and it's just that bit trickier to drive on the limit. That's why you're seeing drivers getting wheel spin and just sliding the car a little bit more. You can see Gallo there parking his machine on the apex of the corner. It takes a bit of a slower line through that first turn, and then subsequently
what makes you so fast, Serrano? What makes you so fast?
You can't really get it for Adriano Carrazza there, but Gallo now just looking a bit more vulnerable than he was, and Carrazza again seeking the opportunity to pounce into the middle sector. It's a damn move on the inside. Carrazza just decides that discretion is the better part of valor, but you sense its case.
Pits are coming up.
Not if for the Brazilian to try and attack against the Italian. He's been flirting with the idea.
Pits are coming up soon.
Or so. And again, he closes up onto the back of him as we come through in towards the hairpin bends.
Carrazza's just chewing up that Dunlop tyre right now. He's chewing up that soft compound. It's not going to last much longer at this speed. He needs to make his moves and get on with it. He spent too much time behind Gallo and Sasaki. A little bit of a love tap there on Gallo for good measure, which is probably going to set up him very nicely for a move on Sasaki. So Gallo now in the slipstream of Sasaki in front. Sasaki does try and go defensive, sits in the middle of the circuit, but not much he can really do about that as Gallo drives by using that slipstream up into fourth place. Karatsa's going to try the move as well.
Oh,
wow,
they crashed a little bit.
There, and Karatsa picking the pocket of Sasaki up into fifth place goes the Brazilian.
The driver's really aggressive over the curves there, and he properly slammed it over the sleepy policeman, didn't he, Adriano Karatsa? Managed to make it stick quite nicely. So Sasaki down 2 places, Gallo through and into 4th position. So this is working out quite nicely here for Valerio Gallo. Jura, of course, he's in 3rd place, as we know, but he's still some 6 seconds off the back of Miyazono, and of course he's going to owe the medium compound of tyre at the end of this race.
We'll see how things change once tires change.
Compound of tyre, so you would imagine that Gallo is going to be a shoo-in for a podium if it all continues going his way. Sasaki with a big amount of wheel spin through the 2nd chicane, just about manages to gather it all up okay, but costs him a bit of time, so maybe a bit of frustration creeping in there for the Japanese driver as we come through the 2nd sector. You can see the car starting to move around here now, so maybe those medium tyres coming towards the end of their useful shelf life.
Well, it's just also how aggressive you are on the front. You can really burn through the tyres by just slipping them out of each corner. It's part of the challenge of driving this absolute monster, as Karatsa now struggling to keep up with the unleashed Valerio Gallo, despite being on the faster compound of tyres.
All right, this should be pit.
Come through to get an idea. What was his pits? Paul Jura decided to come in. Does Karatsa as well in the background? Just a blur, flash in the background there. Wow. Yeah, so he's coming in now to get rid of that soft tyre. Gallo, this is a lap for him. He needs to get this right. It's be a strong lap for him. Same for Sasaki as well.
So Serrano's going 9 laps on this and then 8 on the other one, right? Obviously.
Really got to just try and see what he can do from here.
Yeah, damage limitation, isn't it, for Adriano Karatsa? He tried to do something different. It's sort of half worked out for him. He'll gain a few more places compared to where he started this race, but I don't think it's going to be a challenge for the podium for the Brazilian driver. Watch him prove us wrong. Here is Paul Jura then coming out of the pit lane, careful of the white line on the exit there. Another place where you can pick up one of those 3-second penalties. So you've got 3 drivers now on the soft compound of tyre, Barbara, De Bruyne and Cardinal. Meanwhile, this is Karatsa. Gallo and Sasaki are side by side in the foreground here, and look at this, Karatsa's just going to lunge, a very late move on the brakes, clatters it over the curb on the inside, but gets it stopped, and just catches Sasaki very unawares, who has to take to the escape mode, and well, you can see just how surprised the Japanese driver was.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the Japanese is to blind me, but I think that was it. Right there, here comes the Rhino, yep, diving into the pit lane there, huge speed to the pit entry.
Okay, Serrano's now pitting for his mediums.
Serrano, no one was close to his pace there at all, and that's what he needs. You know, he was saying he's feeling confident in himself, and you can see it in his driving. Just 0 mistakes, quietly aggressive, and just getting on with it. Relentless is the pace of Serrano, and if he keeps this up, it's going to be hard for anyone to catch him.
Yeah, 4 seconds near enough the advantage he had over to Takuma Miyazono prior to that pit stop. Subsequently 12 seconds over Valerio Gallo. Of course, Gallo's now in the pits. He's going to be on to the soft compound of tyre, so he'll be quicker than the top 2 in the closing stages of this race. But 12 seconds with, what, 7 laps to go. That's a meteoric amount of time for Gallo to close up. But, you know, if you see Serrano and Miyazono, if they start squabbling amongst one another, it's not out the realms of possibility, but it's a tall order for the Italian to start being involved in that battle for the victory.
We'll see. Gallo, he likes a chase, does Gallo. He likes to be the one trying to gain position in the last couple of laps, so we'll see if he can do that.
Gap there between Jura and Gallo, 2.7 seconds. That is a gap that will probably come down, and that's why we're saying about Gallo challenging for the race lead, because you'd imagine it's a matter of when and not if you're going to see the Italian driver starting to fight and starting to challenge Jura. And if Jura has
Serrano,
a grip
what
underneath
are
him on
you
that
made of?
Tyre, I don't think there's anything that he's going to be able to do to defend it.
I don't think so either, mate. I mean, the cars are so much faster than that soft tyre, especially in these first couple of laps. They're fresh, they're hot off the blankets, and they're just very, very grippy. So here's the live point standings. If it ends like this, Jose Serrano has one hand on that trophy. I'm telling you, he's getting close. Meanwhile, the midfield battle is getting a little bit spicy as Kylian Drummond tries to come back through the field after being shunted off at T1 by Paul Jura, and trying to find a way by Angelo Estroza, newly crowned, of course, Manufacturers Series champion. Losing a place here to Drummond. Yep, definitely out the inside goes Drummond. They're trying to go side by side. You really can't go 2 by 2 through there without anyone having a mistake. And up into 7th goes Kylian Drummond.
Yeah, lovely stuff there for Kylian Drummond. Jose Serrano, fastest lap for him is a 1:16.0. That's not quite the lap time he set last time around, because of course he's now on the medium compound of tyre, but he does hold that accolade so far in this race. The only other driver who's in the 1:16s on that last lap was Samuel Cardinal, who's a 16.6, and he's right down at the bottom of the order. So So Kylian Drumont through this long right-hander. I drove this car and circuit combination yesterday. I have to say,
Miyazono's got quite a gap on Yura as well, and they're both on mediums. Gallows closed the gap on Yura a little bit, but too crazy. Taking a second off now.
Still looking at Kylian Drumont. Now looking at the back of Adrian Carazza, the Brazilian driver in front. What's Drumont going to do here? Oh, from 10 years back. I mean, Carazza had to open.
That was a Verstappen move right there, brother. That was a Verstappen take.
You know what? If I want to get shunted off, then I'm going to just drive super aggressively. These paces are mine. Back up to 6th place. Good recovery so far from the Frenchman.
Yeah, I don't know what the French for sod it is, but he's certainly throwing it at it, isn't he? Here is Kylian Drumont. Through the final chicane we go, and across the timing line once again. Toronto it is that still leads the way. Oh, big massive moment for Inestrosa into the back of Adriano Carazza as he just misjudged his braking zone into the first corner. Manages to gather it up all okay, and not too much harm done there for the Chilean in the middle of all of that. But either way, a bit of desperation and a bit of a misjudgment for him there, and subsequently it's costing him, going to cost him a little bit of time here.
Meanwhile, Paul Ura, the gap coming down between himself and Valera Gallo. 6/10 the difference last lap. Gallo there getting closer and closer on that soft compound tyre. So the ideal spot to be having a move is, of course, into the last chicane here. And that's all done by setting up his hairpin nicely. So on the brakes there, very, very close. What's the gap now down the straight? It's about 7/10 of a second. So he will be getting a little bit of a draft here. Probably not enough to make a move. This will bring him right onto the back of Paul Ura's rear end.
Opportunity knocks it for
Okay, Gallows closed the gap on Ura.
You can see that with the red dot flashing next to his name. 0.8 of a second, so that's easily enough for him to close up onto the back and possibly challenge for that 5th position. We come through the final chicane though, meanwhile, with Gallo. And again, he just closed it up. Last time around in terms of the lap times.
Serrano is 4 seconds ahead of second.
For him, Paul Ura a 1:17 flat. That's the difference in terms
this
of
guy
tires, and that's how much it's
must have the braking
Paul
of a
Ura
god.
this race, that moment that he had, the penalty that he suffered from subsequently, and well, a chance of victory slipping through his fingers certainly, and possibly a podium going away for the Spanish driver. And with that under threat, and if Gallo is able to find his way through, Serrano, as Jimmy said, is going to be edging ever closer to that title. Paul Ura goes defensive then. Gallo looks to pull to the outside as we come under the bridge in towards the chicane. He goes to the outside line. That's brave as we come over the chicane, and he manages to make it. Gallo to the win, and
that was fucking clean.
The podium places.
Yeah,
that was clean.
That's a 2021 champion Gallo move right there. That's how you do it. Round the outside. Ura being very respectful, giving
but he's 6 seconds behind Miyazono with only 4 laps to go.
4 laps left to do it though, so I'm unsure really if he has the time to get there. But
I don't think he does. It
so
took him a few laps just to catch up on 2.7 seconds. Ain't no way you're closing 4 seconds. So
Gallo goes round the outside there, just about runs the speed through. Ura gives him the room. That's a lovely move there by Gallo. Move the race.
That was solid.
Yeah, well done there for Valerio Gallo. Exactly what he needed to do.
And Ura's gonna have a hard time keeping up with him because he's on mediums. So Gallo, realistically, if he doesn't make giant mistakes, should have podium here.
And Drumont are also under investigation. Carazza's down in 10th place, and we were singing his praises earlier on. So I wonder if he was the fault of that and caused the incident. He's also under investigation for an incident with Kai de Bruyne there as well. So we'll try and pick the bones out of that one once we get a replay. Drumont, though, as we sit on board with the Frenchman. Again, you sense that it's a missed opportunity for him here today in terms of the Nations Cup. He's won the Manufacturers' Cup, but again, just seems to be slipping through his fingers at the most crucial moments. I mean, again, not his fault what happened at the start of this one, but just wrong place, wrong time, and misfortune really is falling.
I mean, Ura has closed 1 second. It's, I mean, not Ura, Gallo 1 second closer to Miyazono. With 3 laps. If Miyazono makes a mistake, maybe. But I doubt it.
So what could have been, eh?
Certainly could. Let's have a look then at Kylian Drumont. Sasaki goes to the defensive line at the first corner. holds the apex, holds the line into turn 2. De Bruyne picks up a 1 second penalty for a collision then, so he was deemed as the fault of that incident we saw with Adriano Carrazza coming up on our screen a little bit earlier on. Through the chicane we go, and Drummond again just had to get out the throttle a little bit there as he sits behind the Japanese driver. We're loving the action on track here at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and if you haven't downloaded the Spec 3 update for GT7, get yourself onto it because you'll be able to drive this and also the brand new Gas Marina circuit.
Yeah, someone needs to throw a blue shell at Serrano. Quick.
First World Series event in 2026. Sasaki a bit deep into their chicane, lost him a bit of time, leaves Drummond again a bit closer. Wonder if they'll think about a lunge into the hairpin or maybe...
My man's chilling up there, dude.
Yeah, he's not interested in going remove there. Look at that. He's going for that exit there, wide in and shallow out.
We haven't even needed to see him on the screen, not one time, because he's just up there.
3 tenths of a second. So here's what the Sitcrim does then. Sasaki was going over the grass. That won't help his defensive effort at all. Going defensive early. Drummond can be forced to go around the outside. He don't mind. He'll do that. Drummond trying the outside line. Very well defended by Sasaki. Is it though? They just both get through. Drummond up into 5th place. Look at the background. Ango in Estroza with a much better run than both of them through there. Is also in contention. It's now 3 cars.
That was a soft tire versus soft tire too.
On the back of Sasaki.
Through into the right hander we go then, and Estroza's ready to try and pounce. So Sasaki's lost 1 place, possibly set to lose another here. 2 at Galen Estroza. Out of turn 2 we go, and down in towards the right left. And Drummond, well, made hay whilst the sun shone there, exactly what he needed to do. Gallo meanwhile brought the gap down to Miyazono to 5.4 seconds as Inestrosa has a look to the inside. The door's not quite ajar enough for him to be able to walk through at the moment, but the Chilean really driving like a man possessed. Sasaki again clipping the grass, not the first time we've seen that. Cost him a possibility of a position here as well, as Inestrosa drives around the outside even before they've made it fully into the braking zone and goes through to 6th.
Yeah, I mean,
Sasaki's giving up a couple placements here, but he's going to try to make it back right here with the outside. Doesn't look like he's going to make it happen, though. Maybe? Not quite.
Just about keeping that place for now, but this isn't the place you want to be here. You're now giving the draft to the car behind. Will we see a retaliation from Sasaki? On board we go then. Up for the gears, 330 kph maximum speed. We go down to 340 as we hit the anchors there, but not close enough to make a move with this Stroza. I think maybe we've seen Sasaki struggling these last 2 laps. I think we're going to see him maybe drop off the back now.
Yeah, what was it? You know, 2 corners, those 2 battling amongst one another, and that's allowed Drummond a second or so's advantage. It sort of moves him out of the meaningful slipstreaming range.
There's Serrano.
It's like he's been on a Sunday drive to the shops. Jose Serrano has had an absolute blinder for this one. He started, of course, at the very head of the field, courtesy of winning
what is he doing
race.
that's so much different?
Like he's going to make it 2 wins from 2 as he comes through the middle sector on the final lap. 5.1 seconds is the advantage he now holds over Takuma Miyazono, and this has been an absolute display of excellence from the Spaniards.
Yeah, I mean, this is the drive of a champion. This is the guy who knows how to win races, who has won this series before, and it's really hard to fault anything he's done right now as he comes to finish the race here, undoubtedly in the lead.
What a great job from Jose Serrano. Inestrosa's dropped down to 10th place, by the way. They're under investigation, Sasaki and Inestrosa, for that collision. Serrano, though, out of the final turn, he's going to win race 2 of the Nations Cup here for the Gran Turismo World Finals. 2 wins from 2 races for the Spaniard. Takuma Miyazono comes across the line.
Miyazono getting second's crazy, though, too.
Will complete the podium. A fantastic
Gallo catching a 3rd.
The Italian moves his way up.
Euro held his 4th. Drummond fought his way up.
Ahead of Paul Ura and Kilian Drummond, who also recovered magnificently well after the misfortune he suffered on the opening lap. Sasaki in 6th place ahead of Guy Barbara, but that remains to be seen.
Oh, Serrano, what the fudge, dude. It doesn't even make sense how you're so fast.
Lap of racing, and we're not quite sure what happened. We'll have to try and pick the bones out of it, but a perfect start to life for Takuma.
Check his racing wheel, he's got a boost.
In Fukuoka. Great way for him to continue his championship challenge, and the great performance that we've seen from the Spaniards.
Looks calm, doesn't he? I mean, you wouldn't know he's 1 step away from being the 2025 Nations Cup champion. Yeah, great run by Serrano. Can't fault him at all. A little bit of a shout out to Gallo and to Barbara.
Check his wheel.
They both gained 4 positions in that race, so very good recovery from them. But star of the show, undoubtedly this man, Jose Serrano, 1 step closer to that crown.
Yeah, exactly what he wanted, exactly what he needed to do, Jose Serrano then, as he just talks to his fellow competitors on the stage.
He's curb boosting or something, yeah.
Some highlights from that race.
Something weird.
It was a standing start. Jose Serrano was on the right, Drummond was on the left. The lights went out and we went racing. But keep an eye out for the cars from behind. Pol Ura bang into Miyazono, into Drummond, and then cost Drummond a chance of really challenging for anything meaningful in this race. He also ended up in the barrier on a second occasion.
Ura caught 3 seconds for that.
3-second penalty for his part in the incident, and then had to fight his way back through the field. We had Sasaki, who went down the order. Not a particularly brilliant race in terms of the final finishing position for the Japanese driver, but all eyes were on Valerio Gallo, and at one point also...
Yeah, Drummond got screwed up on the first fucking turn.
Then we had the pit stops in the mid-phase of the race. Serrano came out in a comfortable lead, and we kept an eye, as we said, on Valerio Gallo on that soft compound of tyre as he challenged Pol Ura's final podium place.
Drummond on his way back through the field, as you say, quite aggressive there. Don't blame him to make those moves. Here's Gallo making them move the race. Look at that, all the way around the outside, man. That's making the highlight reel.
Certainly was. Kylian Drummond then side by side here with Takuma Sasaki. This was an absolutely fantastic bit of driving from both of them, as a matter of fact, because there was so much respect, but yet not much space. This was Serrano, though, cruising his way to a comfortable victory in the second race of the weekend. Jose Serrano taking the checkered flag and extending his lead at the top of the championship standings. Is it one hand now on the title for the Spaniard with one race left to play for? Well, there are your competitors on your screen, and it'll be all eyes and all focus on waiting for that final race, which of course is going to be double points as well. Red Bull X 2019 at the Nordschleife.
Dude, I'm not sure if even with double points, if it matters for Serrano.
It's going to be pretty interesting. See how this one works out.
Yeah, I mean, like, there is a big gap going into this last round here. Of course, bear in mind that the double points can change things around. If Serrano has a horrible last race,
his lead is crazy.
Miyazono, Gallo, they can still win this thing. So definitely all to play for. But I mean, I wonder what's going through his mind right now. He's saying his confident interview earlier with Jules and with Sasha, and he was saying he's feeling good with himself, and he's driving super well. I've not seen a single mistake from him all weekend, to be honest. But it's not all done yet. The pressure must be building.
And that's the thing, isn't it? Is you end up in that situation where the pressure builds, and it's that one simple mistake that can cost you. You know, if he makes an error on the opening lap of the grand final and drops himself down to 10th place, or whatever it might happen to be, then suddenly, again, the incident is completely turned on its head, and that championship, which looks pretty good at the moment, is not so good. It means that the situation is completely different. We are still waiting for confirmation of the results at the moment, courtesy of some investigations that we saw on that final lap. I believe the incident with Sasaki and Inestrosa is what is being looked at by the race stewards. There we are. We now have confirmation of the results. So there we go. Jose Serrano is crowned as the victor. Takuma Miyazono in second. Gallo is in third place. Ura in fourth ahead of Drummond, Sasaki. Barbara up to seventh place. Good race for the Australian ahead of Karatza.
They were way ahead too, first two.
The final point on the board there. Samuel Cardinal, the only driver who failed to score for that one. Well, there we are, confirmation of the results here in Fukuoka, and Jose Serrano, of course, as we know, will extend his lead at the top of the table, and we'll see exactly by how much of an advantage he holds over the rest of the field going into the final race of the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series. I have to say, for Takuma Miyazono, of course, he's the reigning champion. It'll be a disappointment for him to possibly be losing out on that crown. But let's catch up then with Jose Serrano and also, I believe, Pol Ura as well.
Yes, we are down on the floor now with Miyazono and Ura. They did really, really well. So first of all, okay, you're second in the points. I think it's 15 behind. How are you feeling? I guess we should probably talk a little bit about Kylian.
Yeah, first of all, I want to apologize to him. It was all on me, so I have nothing to say about that. Just sorry for him, and sometimes mistakes happen. It was my time. I'm sorry for him.
Yeah, no, it happens. It happens.
今ね、15点差で2位にユラ選手も入ってるわけですけれども、最初のね、接触ですけれども、わざとじゃなくて、時とこういうふうに起きてしまう自分のミスだったので、本当に謝りたいと思っています。And with Miyazono, he's 1 point behind Ura, so third in the championship. 16点差、ユラ選手と1点差だと思うんですけれども、チャンピオンシップ3位。どうでしょう、ここからあと2レースありますが。
はい、もう次で最後なんですけど。
そうか、もう次で最後だ。そうだ。
もう正直ポイント差が大きいので、優勝はかなり厳しいと思うんですけど、今年最後のレースなんでいいところにして、少しでもいい順位で終わりたいと思います。
So the next race is the last one. Point difference is quite huge, so I'm sure winning is not that easy, but I want to show my best to to the audience for the final race of the year.
And Paul, one question for you, which was yesterday when we were talking to Jose, I was asking him about like if he's coming up to you, does he go as aggressive as anyone else? And he was like, no, I'm easier. But I feel like now, is it kind of, I mean, it's the final race. If it comes to, are you just gonna, I mean, I know you got like your Spanish brotherhood, but I don't know, it's the last race of the season. Are you
just kind of nudge him over.
I mean, I don't think being aggressive will even solve the championship as he's got a big margin already. So yeah, but I mean, I always try to race respectfully with everyone. From my side, there's always respect.
Just a late break.
Well.
Just a late break. You missed your break point a little bit. Maybe send Serrano into a couple walls.
すごく外交的な外向きの答えだねっていうふうに言ってましたけども、っていうのはポイント差が離れてるけども、最後アグレッシブに行くかどうかということですけれども、でももちろんそのね同じ国ということでリスペクトもあると思うんですが、ユラ選手は常にですねこうやって自分はリスペクトを持ってフェアで行こうというふうに。
There's one more race.
でセラノ選手も同じだと思うので、そういった意味ではアグレッシブに行ってもチャンピオンシップを変えるほどではポイント差が小さくないので、レースをしたいというふうに言っていますけれども、それに対して外交的ねって言ってますけれども、素晴らしいスポーツマンシップですよね。拍手をお送りください。
What's up, Jared? Chilling, brother. We're chilling. It's been some good clean racing so far. Cleanish.
宮園選手、最後素晴らしいレースを
I always do chilling.
見せたいということですが、どんなレースしましょう。
去年最終ラップいい形で終われたので、セラーノのレースは壊すことなく最後
It's been somewhat clean, I said.
バチバチのバトルができたらなと思ってます。はい。
So the final race, I don't want to ruin Serrano's race, but I want to fight side by side until the final lap in the final race.
Just give him a good, nice, fun, slightly little bit of shoulders, yeah.
ちょっと肩同士当てたりとか、ちょっと
just yeah, you want a little bit.
いやもうちょっとはい彼の今シーズンの頑張りはちょっと台無しにしたくないんで、そうですね。あんまり接触とかないようにレースは進めれたなと思ってます。
I don't want to, ruin his hard work of the season, so no collisions,
Yeah, okay. No, of course not. I was not suggesting that at all. I was just make it super fun.
楽しくしてほしいだけなんです。Right?
Anyway, I think we've tortured them enough with questions. Yeah.
Let's go back to Tom.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sasha. Thanks to Jules there as well. So Jose Serrano, imperious form. Let's not forget 5 points was the advantage that he had going into this one. And, well, I mean, he's had the perfect weekend so far. Look at this. 41 points he now has at the top of the table. So a 15-point swing going into it with 24 left on the board.
Yeah, a bit more of a reaction that time, wasn't there, Tom? He was a bit more, you see a bit more out of breath. He's definitely won this there, but 2 wins so far. Can he make it a clean sweep in the grand final? It's going to take a lot for Miyazono or Gallo or Drummond to dethrone Jose Serrano, but anything can happen at the GT World Series events, and it does.
Certainly does, yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how this one is going to work out, because it is not all said and done. Just a reminder, of course, double points for that grand final. So a maximum of 24 on offer compared to the 12 that we've had in race 1 and race 2. And look at Ura's second place. It's very much under threat from Takuma Miyazono. Gallo's pushed himself right up there as well as Drummond, who still, despite the dramas he suffered in that race, is very much in contention in 5th position.
Yeah, I mean, there's something there. I mean, there's definitely the podium up for grabs. 2nd and 3rd is by no means settled at this point. Even Sasaki, as you say, on the outside chance there could have a chance to do that.
Yep, absolutely right. So there, the grand final is about to get underway. Let's go down to Jules then and catch up with Eagle Fraga.
I'm now joined on the floor by the Super Formula.
Yeah, you're supposed to wear your gloves on the wheel. Who's this?
It's kind of cool to hear that, right?
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool, yeah.
I mean, obviously you would understand what these drivers up here are kind of
feeling
now.
Oh, it's a real driver.
Rather than, give
or
them
like
some
a real life
that they
driver.
won't pay attention to right now because they're focused. We thought it'd be really cute to show just how long you've been into racing for. So I spoke to your mum, and she sent me some pictures and videos to show them.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
なんか僕のレースキャリアをちょっと振り返るというか、なんか僕のお母さん、家族が送ってくれたグランツーリスモを昔からプレイしてた動画とか、ちょっと今年のスーパーフォームラの結果も踏まえてちょっと自分の歴史というかを見せてるものみたいです。はい。
Your mum sent me a whole Google Drive of photos. There's a lot.
Yeah. She had this kind of always like how can I say? She was always filming everything. So since when I was racing karting and so on, like we have all the stuff documented.
I know.
It was there was a Brazilian TV here in Japan, so they was sending those videos to them, and they were doing the news about my races and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a bunch of things documented since karting and.
Well, it's lovely to have you here. I'm glad we got to embarrass you, like a little bit. Choto.
Yes.
But let's throw up to Tom and Jimmy and get this grand final underway.
Huh. What does that guy race, chat?
Yep, cheers, Jules. Thank you to Igor Fraga there as well. Great to catch up with him. Great to see him playing Gran Turismo when he was a wee lad.
Do you reckon he prepared for that? Seeing a random picture of him as like a boy there, but yeah, I admire
Super Formula and GT3. Ah, cool. He's pretty successful.
School of driving. That's how you do it. Yeah, absolutely. Right, grand final time. One last race in 2025 to get underway for you. Looking forward to this one. Red Bull X 2019, Nürburgring 24-hour layouts, 3 different tyre compounds, 7 laps. Identical circumstances to what we had in 2024. Position with Mia Dono alongside on that front row. Gallo and Yura, then Drew Martin,
I do also use gloves,
Barbara
that's correct.
Karatza, De Bruyne and Inestrosa, and then Samuel Cardinal in 11th position. 15 points, the advantage that Jose Serrano has with 24 left on the table. And the Red Bull X 2019 competition is the machine that the drivers will be piloting. 816 horsepower with 650 kilograms of weight. It's fast, it's aerodynamic, and it's a very tricky car to control on the limit.
Especially around a circuit with curbs about the height of the car. Don't be touching those in that thing when you find yourself going to space. Not in a good way either. So we've seen Serrano, he's good in these cars. Miyazono's good in these cars as well. It's a very different vibe from last year. Of course, Miyazono went in kind of the favourite last year. Serrano, we saw a couple of penalties, caught up in some things that weren't really in his control. So the race can go away from you if you're not careful there. But you have to think the momentum behind him now must feel quite different going into this race this year for him.
It is interesting, isn't it, how the sort of tables have turned. Serrano, as you say, on imperious form so far here today, no question about that. Paul Yura, his compatriot on the other side, little bit messy and a bit scrappy on a couple of other occasions. Anyway, we're not far away then. Let's get ready to get the grand final underway for the Nations Cup.
Yes, it is just about time to start the grand final, and as we were saying, it's double points. So it's still anything can happen.
I'm about to order some food.
ダブルポイントラスト何が起きてもおかしくありません。最高のレースを見たい方は拍手を。
I should get my food before this race is over.
I'm ready. The drivers are ready. This is the last race of the year in the series.
Here we go.
Let's go. 行きましょう。
Last race of the season. Yeah, bro. If more people mess with Drew Mont, dude, we might flip his lid. He's been getting the short end of the stick, that's for sure, on some of these crashes.
Comes down to this then. One race left in 2025 to crown our Nations Cup.
He's gonna crash out in real life.
And the man who has won 2 races so far.
Is Laboutle back, or is he Dunzot still?
Position. Jose Serrano, the Spaniard, 15 points the advantage he has with 24 left on the table. Can he convert it into a second Nations Cup world title? Takuma Miyazono, the outgoing champion, potentially lines up on the front row.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, my man. Thanks for chilling here for it.
And Pole Europe company alongside, who's been somewhat in the wars.
This is a fun track. This was one of the first tracks I ever learned when I started getting into sim racing. Super good time.
Barbara, the Australian, who made some good progress.
Should be interesting.
Where he started in that second race. He's got Adriano Carrazza for company. Then it's Kai de Bruyne lining up in 9th position, who's had a bit of a dog stay at the office so far. Ankelina Stroza completes it with P10, and the grid is rounded out by Samuel Cardinal, the Canadian driver, in 11th place. Now, of course, we have 3 different compounds of tyre, and the top 4 starting on the softs.
Okay. Serrano's like, I'm starting softs.
Really, we tend to see the drivers hurry up the grid.
Get the biggest lead he can.
Break away, but the last race here of 2025, all to play for here in the Nations Cup. Jose Serrano leading the field. You'll love that. We said before, he likes leading in the front. He's proved that already today in 2 races. What must be going through his head right now? Try and keep it calm, Jose.
Absolutely, a lot of pressure on that young man's shoulders. Takuma Miyazono there in the middle of your picture as well. He would love to retain that crown, but it's going to be a fairly tall ask for the Spaniards. For the Japanese driver. Let's wait and see, with the Spaniard, of course, lining this one up on pole position. Valerio Gallo's been on great form so far this weekend as well. Let's see how the Italian can turn things around. The former Nations Cup champion himself. For one final time in 2025, we go racing as the grand final for the Nations Cup is underway. Jose Serrano leads them across the line with Miyazono, Gallo and Pole Europe for company. Into the braking zone, we see Miyazono lunging his way up the inside of Serrano. A bit too late though, and not quite enough for him to attack and take the position away, with Gallo looking for a move on the inside but not quite able to make it as well. So Serrano it is that leads from Miyazono, from Gallo, as we come through the first part of the opening lap.
The car snaked down through the Grand Prix version of the circuit here. Everyone just, I think, figuring out what they want to do, where they are, what their competitors' strategies are at the moment, of course. Through the hairpin at the bottom and now flat out back up the hill through the Michael Schumacher S. Easily flat in these X2019 machines, even with the dirty air here, as you then get through the last part of this GP circuit. This feels like child's play in comparison to what's coming next. The Nordschleife with a northern loop where, well, really, where you become a proper driver.
Absolutely, a lot of time for things to change in this race. We're coming through onto the Nordschleife. It's a very different circuit compared to this Grand Prix layout, Jimmy, as we mentioned earlier on.
Holy shit, these things fucking cook.
You can't really overtake, so you still have to get it done at this part of the circuit.
Yeah, I mean, you can overtake. There are places to do it, but the track narrows up considerably as you come onto this part of the track you can see now. And of course, the curves extremely high here. These things are glued to the ground. Touch a curve of speed, this thing super easy.
Holy!
Into the wall there. 300 kph before breaking through the section of Hassan back here. See Euro there flirting with the curve on the right-hand side. Just the speed for it is ridiculous. It really is. But this is where one of the mild overtaking opportunities here. It's come up towards Blue Pass, getting the draft.
Shit, they cooked through this track.
Giving the draft to Euro. Serrano already 1.1 seconds up the road. Look at that.
Amazing. Bro, what is Serrano made of? And the more these guys do battle, the better it's going to be for him.
Fight that one too much at this opening stage of the race.
He actually indicated to get out of the way there, so I think maybe sensing the pace of Gallo, or just saying, I don't want to fight too much, big in a fight, and Pole Euro don't care. He's up into 3rd place. Big dive from the Spaniard there, not willing to give up on this title just yet, but Gallo now has been charged with leading or trying to get onto the back of Serrano. He's come through the foxhole now, up the top here, through into Adnau, 4th, really technical part.
He must have cheats installed in his wheel. That's the only explanation.
This thing, and on that soft tyre, they're going to try and make this tyre last a couple of laps. They can't afford to spin the wheel, to scrub the front tyres. It's all about precision and making sure you keep those tyres happy.
And that's the thing as well, you've got to be very careful about how you play this strategy. If you go for an aggressive one and you decide to go an extra lap, I mean, that's different if you're competing at somewhere like Spa or the Circuit du Villeneuve that we've seen here tonight already. But here at the Nürburgring, of course, it's a very big circuit. You can't really afford to take that gamble. You've got to be a bit more planned.
No, if you have a mistake here, you go on the grass, there is no runoff. You just go straight into that barrier, and it's never a small crash at the Nürburgring. So these guys will have that in their head and come down to the midpoint of the circuit, down towards the town of Adana. You can just see it there in the background.
love a bit of currywurst on the right-hand side that you can get in your restaurant.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, you learn to avoid that after a little while. But up through the hill now towards Bergwerk, when Niki Lauda had his huge crash a long time ago now. But this is another spot where you can kind of use the toe up the hill and try and pull past someone. Serrano still edging that gap, 1.4 seconds now. If you stay on board with Miyazono, completely flat up here. You didn't feel like it, given the elevation, the bumps, and where the car turns here. But the aero of this car forces it into the ground, keeps that tyre contacting the road, keeps it quick up here. Nearly 200 mile an hour up here. It's gone towards the mid curve. Is it flat out in these cars? Easily. Oh my word, that's fast.
Look at Jura, he is all over the back of Valerio Gallo like a bad rash here, isn't he? Just trying to find his way through, but there's not really a gap to do so at the moment. That's the problem with this part of the circuit. As Jimmy said, it narrows up so much, and unless you're going to send it through on the inside, you can cost yourself more time.
Gallo's staying within reason here, and they're all kind of keeping up now. He's not like creating more spread or more gap.
And might leave him vulnerable to attack here from Takuma Miyazono.
Yeah, really easy to sort of fall out the carousel there, and you lose a lot of time when that happens. Up the Hoak, now the highest point of the circuit.
So what are they going to do after the softs, though? Mediums, or are they going to go to hards?
Commentate here or watch one of these races. This last third of the track is probably the greatest stretch of racetrack in the world. The flow is just ridiculous, and in these cars, with all that aero, the corners come up sooner than you can deal with it. It's really a test of skill to get through here in these. And Gallo, you can see, he likes it. The gap down to 8/10 of a second there. And that's what that looks like. So what Gallo's trying to do here is get into slipstream range before we get to... Oh, mistake from Serrano. Yeah, big off. So Gallo's... Oh, he gets up to the
wait.
trying to avoid him. He's off too.
Oh, no.
Gallo spins.
That fucked up Gallo trying to go around him.
Get onto the grass here.
Jura's now up there. Serrano's human.
Oh,
but now Jura's going to be getting pressured by Serrano.
Trying to avoid the accident up ahead. You can't just send it into the grass. His car, the grit goes away there.
Yeah, we need to see another replay of that, don't we, really, and pick the bone to it from a different angle. But the upshot is now, Paul Jura it is that leads. Serrano's into second, Miyazono's into third. So we've gone from a four-way fight down to a three-way fight. And Gallo, the big loser in all of that there, just maybe a little bit too impatient. Courtesy of the mistake that we saw being made there from Jose Serrano. The upshot is now that these three drivers, as they come onto the Dottinger Hill for the first time, are all nose to tail with one another. Jura, the driver...
Holy shit, the top three are right on each other.
With Jose Serrano now alongside as we go side by side with each other. Serrano back through and into the lead once again. Takuma Miyazono in third place, looking ready to try and pounce there as well. What it has done with Kylian Drumont, etc., has brought them just a little bit closer. And I wonder if later on that might prove to be a bit of a difficult time for those drivers, because of course they've just lost a bit of time that they would have otherwise have had in their pocket towards the end of this first lap.
Yeah, a bit of fuel saving there, I think, from Jura. And Miyazono down the straight. Take the replay. Let's try and find out what happened there. So Serrano, he was looking a bit sketchy. Just touched the grass on the way in. Goes into the ice curve. The car gets sideways. So here comes Gallo. He tries to go around the outside. But the road falls away here. Off he goes onto the grass. Not the best angle there, but you can just see.
Damn.
Bit of panic there from Serrano. That's the first crack in the armour.
Damn,
there,
he was swinging that wheel.
Trying to go around outside, and he knows straight away it's over. Look at that big size. What a shame for Valerio.
I don't know what the Italian is for old bother, but I can imagine he was saying a few of those words. A disappointment there for Valerio Gallo. Really, really good form, a great run from the Italian up until this point. But it's not over yet. Still plenty of time left in this race for the complexion of it to change. There is Takuma Miyazono, top left of your picture. Paul Jura in the bottom left of your picture. And Miyazono, again, just playing the patient game then here. Serrano's now got all the hard work to do all over again here, Jimmy, hasn't he? Only got 1.5 seconds at one point of the first lap in his pocket. Sort of came down a little bit with Valerio Gallo now closing down, but he's not in as comfortable position as
after how many laps is he going to switch to the hards?
I mean, as I said, maybe the pressure, maybe he's feeling it now. This is a circuit where, I mean, it's such high concentration. You can really find
Drumont's still within range too. He's just he's on mediums right now.
So see Serrano in front. We go to the outside.
Damn. Oh no, he lost control in the grass.
These Red Bull X2019s have a lot of grip until you get onto the grass, and they have nothing.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they are on a knife edge, aren't they? And that's the thing with them.
After the second lap.
They're very aerodynamic dependent, so as soon as you get out of that sort of aero range, you get onto the grass, you upset the balance, and you have a snap of oversteer. It's very hard to save.
This is a tight top three right here.
Of adhesion like these cars are, around corners.
Tight top three.
Turn them around with your little finger, basically, because there's just nothing to them. And when you get incidents like we saw there with Serrano and Gallo, it's a lot easier to do it than you might happen to imagine. The upshot is now Valerio Gallo's got a hell of a work.
Yeah, they changed tires twice.
Off the back of Guy Barbara.
Hards, mediums, and softs in this race.
You see, in terms of the soft tire as well, of course, he's used a lot of...
The guys who start on hards is crazy.
At the end of this lap. Let's see how this one is going to work out then. Kylian Drummond watching 7.4 seconds off the back of them, so it's okay for these top three at the moment. Nothing really for them to worry about. It's not like the medium top runners are sort of bearing down on them for now. It's nothing too concerning at this stage.
There's a downside for leading Serrano there, as used more fuel than anybody else, and that will affect his pit stop time. So if they all boxed as they were now, he would come out behind both of these guys. So he's chosen to go strong to lead for now, but I just wonder if that for this race is going to be ideal for him. But to be honest, Serrano doesn't need to win this race. It would be nice for him to win it, of course, and have a Grand Slam there. I don't think we've had a Grand Slam since Mick Hazal. A long time ago.
It would have been 2019, something like that.
It's been a long time, so if he can do that here, that would be
Grand Slam being winning all three races.
He doesn't need to win this race to walk away with the Nations Cup champions.
Fans watching on here in Fukuoka. What a fantastic venue this has been for our World Finals. You see Takumi Miyazono there, big amount of understeer through that right-hander, and it's just
this fucking car is hella cool,
so
dude.
he's starting to drop back, not out of the range of those top two, but they're now beginning to push on a little bit more. Half a second or so, 1.1 seconds it was up to, and is now up to for Takumi Miyazono. So why is he losing touch here between Jose Serrano and Paul Ura? Are they just pushing on a bit more?
He just made a mistake. He made quite a big mistake there coming out of Atlau, and because he did that, he lost the slipstream. The draft is worth a lot round here.
Yeah,
so
he doesn't have as much of the draft from Ura, right, Miyazono?
Basically, like a free. It feels like a free 50 horsepower when you're in the draft. It really is a massive effect, especially in these cars that are so.
Yes, that's going to be a problem. The further these front two guys get away, Miyazono's left with no draft at all.
This is where Serrano
that's kind of not where you want to be.
This last part of the lap, and is Paul Ura thinking about maybe making a move here? But we've seen Paul try and overtake some people. And,
he tapped
Serrano,
him.
Wide. He misses the
yeah, that might give Miyazono some space too to catch back up.
Going side by side, so I'm not sure if he went wide or that was intentional.
The more these guys battle, the better for third. I think he's already got back into it.
Miyazono right back into the picture though. I mean,
yeah.
1.1 seconds off the back of them a few corners ago, and now he's right on the tail of Jose Serrano then here. So now is Ura going to use this as the impetus? Let's look at the advantage he's already building up. 7/10 of a second at this mid part of the circuit. Ura and Serrano under investigation, so they have a collision that we sort of just caught the tail end on.
Under investigation.
The carousel then here.
I was going to say before, Ura's hit the back of the people before. Here we go. So we're on board with Paul Ura into the carousel. That's it.
Serrano's deep. There was a bit of contact there, but Serrano had already made the mistake at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fine. I think it's sorting itself out.
Yeah, Ura there just trying to keep his calm and focus, really, to be honest. Now in the lead of this race and trying to extend the advantage over Serrano. I suppose the one advantage here for Paul Ura, maybe he can afford to do it a bit more, because Serrano, of course, has expended that bit more fuel. He's got a few litres fewer in the tank compared to Ura, and I wonder if that might come back to bite Serrano a bit later on.
Yeah, but the point is, Ura trying to spread that gap here is...
Because he has to spend more time in the pit lane now.
It's for nothing.
To fill up his car.
And he's just using more fuel for nothing, so... Miyazono looking the best out of the leading three, fuel-wise at the moment. We expect to see them box at the end of his lap. Serrano there just driving
Serrano
back
trying to glide by.
Using that slipstream, using that toe. Here comes Miyazono. He might try and get both of them here for a lap.
Yeah, will Ura try to block inside here? No, right?
Huge straight here. A bit of a time to relax for the drivers, but not for these guys. They're door banging. Whatever constitutes the door in this thing. Down the straight, and second place. They're all really into the pits here, Tom. But the question is, onto what tyre?
Well, that's the thing. Surely they're all going to have to follow one another in terms of the strategy, going on to what you would imagine would be
Miyazono
the hard tyre or the medium
might come out of this in first, no?
Surely at this mid stage of the race, and then they'll run the hard
out of the pit
pain right at the very end. The idea being that they can build up as much of a gap as they can over the rest of the field in the first two phases of it. see how it all works out then. So Serrano and Miyazono, and Serrano's actually decided to be the outlier of that. He's gone for the hard tyre in the middle stint of this
Holy
one.
shit, Serrano's going hards, the other two are going mediums.
What he needs to do, really, is keep in touch with Miyazono and Yura, because he's going to be on a slower competitive tyre. If he can limit the damage as much as possible in this middle phase of the race,
Miyazono comes out in first.
He'll be in a great position to attack in the closing stages of it.
So Serrano has gone onto the hard tyre, but he opted not to take any fuel there, whereas Miyazono and Yura...
So what if Serrano's thought process here is, if these guys battle for first and second, it'll help him... I don't even know, brother. I don't even fucking know. Isn't it a possibility that he falls too far behind on hards and no longer gets a draft?
I didn't realise this until now, basically, is that when you select your tyre you go onto, it becomes visible here. And both Miyazono and Serrano waited to the last possible second to show their tyre to each other, because they're like, right, we're in a fight here, and they both went separate ways. So really interesting, that to me.
You cannot believe the amount of mental arithmetic that's going on for these drivers in the race. They are literally thinking at 100 miles an hour.
Wait a second.
A couple of 100 miles an hour.
Well, this is the thing about sim racing, right? And I think where maybe these guys don't get their credit is they're not only drivers, they're strategists. Their own engineer as well. They're checking things like weather. They're doing everything in the car. Whilst, as you said,
Serrano's going to have no draft at all these next couple laps, right? Or just one lap, maybe. One lap on hard?
Rub down after the race.
Well, I mean, what they do in the hotel room is completely up to...
He didn't get fuel?
We won't cry.
That 3 out of 7 we're on then. Kilian Drumont it is now that leads the race. You can see the top 4 runners are yet to pit at this stage of the race. There's Drumont, Sasaki, Barbara and Karatza. They're all out of position. So Serrano...
Really, Miyazono is going to come out in first, though, if Yura doesn't pass him once these guys pit.
Over Adriano Karatza. That's working out quite nicely for him there so far. 5.5 seconds, though, is the gap between himself and Takuma Miyazono. Now, if we were on a traditional circuit that was about 5, 6, 7 kilometres long, that's not a gap that could come down over the course of a couple of laps. Here, it's going to come down in the space of probably about half a lap or so, given the length of this circuit. And, well, Takuma Miyazono sitting there in 6th position.
Oh, Serrano took less fuel, so he'll be leading. Oh!
Serrano did not take any fuel in this first pit stop of the race. On board we ride meanwhile with Takuma Sasaki. So he and Drumont are up 4 places from where they started. They're on the medium tyre, so presumably they'll be coming in at the end of this lap and changing.
And he's on hard, dude. That's actually, so this is a pro move from Serrano, no?
But they're involved in a battle for
taking no fuel, going on his and getting on hards, getting that out of the way, and still maintaining place. When he swaps to medium tires, he'll get fuel. Lighter car with hard tires. Oh, my God! By the gods!
Of the racing world here.
He goes for the lighter car with hard tires.
Last year, a similar sort of point as well.
That's genius.
Strategy though, we know Kilian's good round here. Kilian's good in his X2019s as well. Sasaki doing very well to hold on there. Look who's in the background. Guy Barbara, this guy, man, he's always there, isn't he? He's always around. Just never quite manages to break through, but he is catching these two, only 2 seconds behind.
It can't be discredited how hard Guy Barbara's had to work just to get qualified for the Gran Turismo World Series in 2025. And of course, we've got the same 12 drivers over the course of all of our events so far this season. So a credit to him, but unfortunately for Guy, the results just haven't really fallen in his favour.
My food's here. I got to give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds.
And we do hope that it's not the last we'll see of him in the GC World Series. He sits there in 3rd position at the moment. Once the pit stops all work out, he'll be dropping down the order a little bit. But for now, he can just sit there and enjoy watching what is unfolding in front of him. This battle for the race lead between Kilian Drumont and Takuma Sasaki as they head their way in towards the carousel. This is where we saw the drama between Serrano and Yura a few laps ago. On board we ride here with Takuma Sasaki then. This is the view he's got in front of him of Kilian Drumont. Just listen to the throttle as we're coming through this part of the circuit. Look how smooth he has to be in terms of the inputs.
He had a couple of goes of that though there. What you maybe don't see about this part of the course on your screen there is just how cambered it is. It's so important to put the car in the right part of the road. Otherwise, your car almost magically understeers. It's something that comes with experience for sure. These guys have that in space. Drumont there, I think, maybe it's a little bit quicker for this part of the circuit as we come into Bridgestone here, up towards the ice curve. Also, because in the wet, this thing is lethal through here. You can use the curb with the right a little bit, but not too much more, as Serrano found out.
now we come up to Flansguard. In a normal car, this is a jump, and these things, they are glued to the floor with downforce. Small lift now to come up to the Belloff S. One of the scariest part of the circuit, the road just falls away from you. You have to trust in the grip of the tyre and the downforce from the car to come up now towards the Kleiner carousel. Very tricky corner this one. Anyone who's on mission 34 will know that. Dumont there suffering. I've been in that barrier so many times in sim. Really hard to get that corner right. And now this is where Sasaki really wants to be. This is the prime seat going down the Dr. Hurley, one of the longest straights in motorsport anywhere. You don't want to be leading going in here, you want to be where Sasaki is. You get a huge toe down the straight. It's just free power, free speed.
Yeah, working out quite nicely here for Takuma Sasaki. Is he going to attack against Kylian Dumont? Is he just going to opt to save fuel at this point? Played the longer game in this race. He's not quite alongside Kylian Dumont. He's just sitting there in the slipstream, so I think he is deciding for that sort of smarter strategy here, maybe saving a couple of litres of fuel, which might prove to pay dividends when it comes down to the pit stops, because it's about 2 litres a second in terms of the total refuelling time, so everything you can gain will prove to be a benefit later on in the race. Out of the final turn we go then, in towards the pit lane and into the box for Kylian Dumont and for Takuma Sasaki. Now, are they going to diverge in terms of strategy? Look at the fuel difference there between them, about 4 litres is how it's changed. Meanwhile, Paul Ura and Takuma Miyazono, they're side by side. I was keeping an eye on the gap with Jose Serrano. 5.5 seconds it was. It still stayed at about 5 seconds, and despite being on the slower compound of tyre there for Jose Serrano, he's not lost too much time relative to everybody else. It's working out quite nicely for him so far. At the top 4, all in for the hard tyres and all taking fuel on board as well.
Yeah, I'm interested in the lap times there. As you say, that's a nice lap there, but of course, only really one lap, I think, Serrano. No, he's opted to go for another lap on that tyre there. I thought he'd come straight in and get rid of that, so the medium tyre obviously not as good as informed, and Serrano's last lap is 6.54 compared to Paul Ura 6.58.
Well, sorry, Jimmy, if you're new to the GT World Series and you're wondering about tyres, the hard tyre, it's the most durable tyre, but it offers the least grip. The medium somewhere in the middle, and the soft tyre, of course, is the quickest tyre because it's softer, it's grippier, but it wears out a lot quicker. So Serrano here, as you say, Jimmy, he's going for the hard compound of tyre. He's playing a different strategy now at this point, which I guess in reverse of that is going to then mean that he's got medium tyres that are a bit fresher towards the end of the race.
Yeah, but his sectors are good. His sectors are really good. Like, he's keeping that car alive. I mean, he's not as fast as Ura Miyazono, but he's fast enough to as you say, to put himself in a good position for his final stint. Anyway, on board with Valerio Gallo, recovering, of course, from that incident at the start of the race. Valerio loves the Nürburgring. He's really quite fast around here. Goes from on Dumont, easy. That's the tyre advantage right there. At the inside, the Dumont can do nothing but just allow the moves to be made. In the background, look behind Dumont, look who's caught him. That gap was 3 seconds for their box. Now, Guy Barbara...
Sorry, he's maintaining first place on hards, right?
Really well as Guy Barbara. Last time around, a pretty competitive lap time considering where he was in terms of the tyre and fuel strategy at that point. So, as you say, an opportunity knocks here for maybe a top 5 finish, and that'll be a lovely way to bookend what has been a tough season for the Australian driver.
Fuel is going to be the issue for Serrano.
Event. He only had 1 point
like
on the board,
the amount
so
of time
he's
he has
added
to
a few
spend
more
in
to
the
his
pit.
tally, is Guy Barbara, but let's see how many more he can add here in the grand final, which, just to remind you again, is double points. 24 is your total. That's the maximum that you can get for this one. At the moment, Jose Serrano has won both races, has scored a maximum of 24 points in both of those, and
Serrano
could be
cooked
set to
himself
add
with
more
the
to his
fuel.
tally
Really?
and
You think
absolutely
so?
dominate the Nations Cup.
You think that was a not good choice?
Serrano, well, he just set a purple sector, and then Gallo took it away there. But on that hard compound tyre, Serrano's flying. That hard tyre is actually, I don't think it is 10 seconds lap slower, you know?
No, but it's certainly not with Jose Serrano. That much is for sure. He's just driving so well, and the hard tyre is the one where you have to limit the damage. We know that. We've seen it so many times with drivers. They flick it onto the hard tyre, and then they really struggle. Sasaki's just about to allow Valerio Gallo, where he's got the indicator on, saying, pull to the left, go and overtake us. I'm not going to fight this one there too much. And Gallo goes through and up into 4th.
Now, funnily enough, if you did that in the ring and you indicated that way to points, as opposed to which way I'm going, you get told off. So, tut, Sasaki. Learn your NLS regulations.
I'm sure that'll come in useful. Jose Serrano, you can see the live points rankings on your screen at the moment. It would give him a 19-point advantage over Paul Ura if the checkered flag was thrown now, but still plenty of time for this race to adapt and evolve. Miyazona there in third place. He'll be right on the coattails of this one. So Valerio Gallo, who's in fourth position, he is in a good place here to move his way up, possibly into the top 3 positions in terms of the final order. What's he on at the moment? It would be 37 points if the checkered flag fell now. So he'd have a 4-point deficit to Takuma Miyazono to overhaul him for third.
He's got about 8 seconds to make up to do that time right now because of that spin earlier on. So the thing is, he is catching.
I want to move my camera.
Is he catching quick enough? So it's going to have to be a hell of a stint here from Gallo to try and upset that top 3. There is your leader right now, Jose Serrano, looking cool, calm and collected. This man 3.5 laps away from his first individual Nations Cup win, of course, part of Team Spain for 2023 when we had that format. But I really do think there is he must be having those thoughts now. He's starting to think about it.
So if we look at Takuma Sasaki, Kylian Drumont, etc., all those drivers who are sort of in that mid-bubble, as it were, at the moment, how do you turn your race around at this point? You're sort of sat there, a bit in no man's land, really, not in the podium battle, not, you know, on the
Chad, is there a crew chief in this game?
What do? You throw something different at it? How do you change your race and give you an opportunity to maybe fight for a podium?
The main problem is now is that you are committed.
They just got to check their mirrors and shit.
You can't really change what you're doing. You're locked in. So all you can really do is, fuel is probably where you're going to make some dishes up in the pit lane or somewhere else. But otherwise, just drive better, go faster. As my good friend Coyne would say, wheel harder.
On board here we are with Kylian Drumont. Look at him feathering the throttle through that right-hander. The problem with these cars, of course, they're very aerodynamic dependent, and he's in the dirty air all the way through this mid part of it, so he's costing him front downforce as he runs his way through this medium speed set of corners. So you just won't have the same grip as you would do for Takuma Sasaki, who of course is up front there running in clean air.
You can see there Sasaki making a couple of little mistakes through there, and they are little mistakes, and again they're wide at Brunson. It just allows Drumont to get out a little bit closer, not troubling a lot of these apexes of Sasaki. I think he's just hanging on for dear life through here, as it feels like to be honest when you drive through here. But Drumont's getting ever closer. This section where it's so
holy
fast,
shit, this car is crazy
silly,
grippy.
He's still getting the toe. You just have to
this is on the hards
keep
too.
The car facing the straight away, keeping full gas as you come down to this next section of corners. The gap is 8 tenths per second. That is close enough for a draft down the straight.
So looking at Kylian Drumont then, just up in front there is Takuma Sasaki.
He's still there.
Yeah, it certainly is, Guy Barbara. He's not hanging about this. He's driving like he's left the gas on, isn't he, in this race, old Guy Barbara. And good to see him having a good run, as we've said a few times there now. And he's right on the coattails, or low.
Serrano's got 2
fuel. Those drivers in front. Look at Serrano in terms of the fuel. 2 litres left. It's going to be close, isn't it? He's going to be surely lifting and coasting here at this point. What we need to do really is sort of ride on board and get an idea of the actual speed. Let's have a look at the gap between them. Was it 5 seconds?
Is he going to make
it? It sits now. I think he might just be able to sort of coast it to there. But it's tight there. Very, very fine margins for Jose Serrano, and he just makes it in with 0 litres left. That is as close as you like for the Spaniard. I tell you what, he'll be clenching his way into that pit lane.
I thought I heard it cough there, about that last corner, but no. I mean, it doesn't even look like he cares about that. I was here thinking it was over for Serrano. Like, yeah, just part of the plan, man. It's but all in hand, all in hand. So it's going to be a long fuel stop for Serrano now, or a longer stop, because he has to now fuel from 0 to the end of the race. So this thing's pretty thirsty as well. Unsurprisingly, it's a lot of power, a lot of downforce to push through that air. So it's a long pit stop. It feels like an eternity now for Serrano. Look how far they push him down the field, down to P10. But of course, everybody else needs to make their last stop. This is his last stop of the race, and he will push to the end from here.
And it's where he's going to emerge in the pack as well. What you want after a pit stop like this is to emerge in clear air. You don't want a car that's in front of you costing you time and downforce. And as we know, because it's so one line on the majority of the Nordschleife circuit, you're going to be hemorrhaging time. So thankfully for Jose Serrano, he comes out of the pit lane there in 11th position, so down in last place. But he's got, what, 13.5 seconds. So though he's down in last position at the moment, he's now in the effective race lead. All he needs to do is basically shrink that gap down to Samuel Cardinal as best he can on this medium compact tyre. Fresher tyres relative to everybody else around him. and he'll be fine.
It seemed like that was quite a long field stop. I mean, I don't think he put too much in. I mean, he knows better than we do, obviously, with his strategy there, but it must feel like an eternity waiting for that to go in.
I mean, I've got to be honest with you, given what it was like going into the pit lane, I just stick a couple more litres in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's got it, we'll see. I mean, we all know what happened to Kai de Bruin last year, running out of fuel at the last corner, basically causing a pileup that cost Serrano a chance of winning the Nations Cup then. So I'm sure maybe he's thinking back to that, thinking, yeah, I'll put an extra litre in, just to make sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Speaking of Kai de Bruin, actually, what a disappointing day he's had at the office. It's such a shame there because there was a great promise with him getting pole position for that first race, and you kind of thought...
It's so crazy that Serrano was in 11th, but effectively still in first.
Other than that one podium, which I think was in London, if memory serves me correctly, it's just not really fallen in his favour. And we seemed to talk about that last year as well, and again here tonight, same story.
Any commentary, bro? I don't even know how to comment. They're commentating.
But unfortunately,
I don't even know. That's crazy.
He needed for that race pace. Can't quite.
The man's in last place, but really he's in first.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be a learning experience for Kai and for some of the other drivers that haven't performed as maybe they would have hoped to do so. But for now, we go back to this battle. Exactly.
Easy for you to say.
Exactly, it's exactly. Drummond and Barbara in the background there, still holding on to the back of these guys. I do wonder where they're going to end up when we see the last stops at the front of the field. These guys on the hard commander tyres go on to the quicker compound. Will they come back at the cars in front? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, this is what we saw last year, wasn't it? Where you get drivers, they stick it on to the soft commander tyre right at the end of the race. It gives them a massive amount of performance. So, let's be fair, it's been a steady race, is being polite about it up until this point. In terms of on-track action, we've seen a few overtakes, but nothing really all that meaningful. A lot of these drivers, they're playing the long game. That's why you're not seeing Sasaki and Drummond knocking 7 bells out of each other at this stage. They're just waiting for the right opportunity to pounce. They're on the hard tyres, they're taking that pain now. And as Jimmy's quite rightly said, they're going to be on the soft tyre at the end of this one, which could bring them right back into play. The gap between themselves and Sasaki, what's that, 5 seconds or so. Sasaki owes the soft tyre there as well. So Sasaki is going to be the one that surely is going to be in the pouncing here, because he's only got 5.6 seconds to Valerio Gallo for that final place on the podium. Gallo is going to be on the hard tyre at the end of this one, so surely you would say Sasaki will be a bit of a bet for a challenge at least from the podium if the likes of Drummond, etc. are not able to close up.
So these are crucial for this chasing pack. They have to maximise this hard tyre as much as they can anyway, put them in the best possible position to chase at the end of this race. Sasaki still leading up the hill from Drummond in the background. Barbara there as well. Good performance, as you said, from the Australian driver, really doing well. Really just showing that he can be at the sharp end of the field. Things seem to fall his way to the mid-curve, completely flat through there. And Drummond there, you see just cruising up to the back of Sasaki and probably just lifting a bit there, because here, having that little bit less fuel, having to put a bit less fuel in the car is going to be a big advantage. You have a quicker stop than the guy around you. It's going to put you in the preferred position leading around here for the last couple of laps.
Yeah, through the carousel we go. No tail here for 4th, 5th and 6th place. As we said, playing the long game in terms of this race, because as they're so close to one another, you know, the gap to Sasaki is again starting to increase a little bit there, with Sasaki versus Gallo up to 6.4 seconds. But you would expect that. Gallo's on the medium compound tyre at this stage, and you know, he's still got enough life left in it at the moment to clearly be pulling out a gap over Sasaki and the following 2 drivers. At the sharp end of this one,
this is such a long time for Serrano to be in last place. It's just weird almost, you know?
Now down to just over 10 seconds, so he's able to just run a nice, clean, comfortable, calm race at the moment, Jose Serrano. Exactly what he wants to do, trying to use the undercut, effectively, the different strategy to give him more of a gap. It was only a few tenths of a
Serrano's
second
close
when he
6 seconds.
Lane, if you remember, for that first pit stop.
He wins.
When he comes into
yeah?
for the final time and out of it subsequently, he'll hopefully have enough of a cushion so that he's not under any threat on that final lap.
Well, we're only about a minute or so away from finding out where everyone sits after the strategies are all said and done. So there's your tyre history.
Yura's all over Miyazono. He's going to make his move maybe right here.
Miyazono and Yura are now going side by side down the straight, I think, just to avoid squabbling. And this is going to be interesting now.
Just to correct my thought, by the way, when I said Serrano coming in, I meant all the other drivers coming in for their final pit stop, because of course Serrano is in the final phase of this race. Then down the Dottinger Hill we go. Miyazono pulls alongside Paul Yura as we come in towards the final.
They're shaking and baking, like literally they're doing the shake and bake.
Too hard. They're again just waiting for their final pit stop, which will surely be coming at the end of this lap. they'll be putting on the hard compound of tyre for the closing stages of this one. All the other field, of course.
Okay, here we go. This is where we find out what's happening.
More left in the tank than Jose Serrano did, but not too much.
No. So in they come.
Who's ahead?
Tyre all round. So Drummond, Sasaki, Barbara, they now pin. They'll go onto that soft compound of tyre. They get to hunt rather than be the hunted for the last part of this race. 2 laps here then will decide the winner of the grand final. We'll keep an eye on Serrano. We'll see where he ends up. He's currently going down the back straight at the moment. Fuel going in. This will feel like a very long time for these guys, of course. Only 2 laps needed, though.
Serrano's about to jump in the first.
The stop Serrano had, having to fuel for that extra lap. There they go. Miyazono out, Yura out as well, so both moving. Miyazono opting for less fuel there than Yura, so less to play with whilst leading, but it seemed that he wanted to have track position.
I think it's working out quite nicely here then for Jose Serrano, because although he's not going to gain track position in terms of the race lead at the moment, he's on the medium tyre for the closing stage of this one. So let's see how he comes out into the gap. What's it, 5.9 seconds, but he's got, what, 2 laps left to play with, and he's got a quicker compound of tyre relative to Yura and to Takuma Miyazono. They're now into the final phase
Serrano
of this race,
wins.
onto the hard compound of tyre, but all they've
Close
got to
5
do
seconds
is try
to
and
2
keep
laps.
Jose Serrano at bay for another lap and a half. Sounds easy. In principle, it's going to be very, very tough for them to do so.
Yes, so Takuma Miyazono, the home driver here, leading the race at the moment, but for how long? Pol Euro 1.4 seconds behind on the same compound of tyre. Jose Serrano, current points
Yeah,
leader,
but Yura doesn't
5
get the
seconds
draft
behind
anymore.
Pol Euro
Well,
on
maybe
the
a little bit.
medium compound of tyre. Then there's a little bit of buffer between them and the soft runners. Watch out for Drummond, watch out for Sasaki, watch out for Guy Barbara. They're going to be charging in these last 2 laps. All to play for still here for the last 2 podium positions.
Bro, he's already
taken
taken a second.
Stays where he is right now. He will be champion. That will be going through his mind right now, Tom. Do I push? Do I keep it safe from here? It's harder than it sounds, trust me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. In terms of second and third place as well, that will be very close, just 3 points in it. At the moment, if the checkered flag fell, it would be Miyazono on.
Bro, they can't hold Serrano. He's already closing crazy distance.
Let's have a look then at Sasaki versus Drummond. This is down the Dossingerhöhe. Drummond on the attack against the Japanese driver as they came under the bridge. Nice and easy there between those two. Bit of contact. This is where we saw it all kicking off here 12 months ago, but Drummond able to get the better of the Japanese driver and through for 4th position. So a nice easy overtake there for the Frenchman as they've now made their final pit stops. Live points rankings, as you can see on your screen. So Serrano, 3rd place would be enough for him to be crowned.
He's already taken 2 seconds.
There ahead of Pol Euro. So in terms of 2nd and 3rd place in the standings, Miyazono needs to outscore Pol Euro to be able to do that. At the moment, it's enough for the Japanese driver. What looks to be the outgoing Nations Cup champion. So we'll see how that one is going to work out. 1.5 seconds is the gap between the top 2.
A lot of home support here for Miyazono. People in the crowd with scarves and merch. I wonder where they got that from. I think they make it.
The thing is, Serrano doesn't even need to catch them to win this championship.
Lots of, very interesting bits of supporting memorabilia created by our fans. Jose Serrano, 3rd place right now, catching quickly Pol Euro and Takuma Miyazono, owing to the fact it's in that medium compound of tyre. And he can just push to the end now. That tyre's going to last completely fine. And that'll be a really freeing thought if you're Serrano. You haven't got to save, you haven't got to worry about the car behind you. You can just push forward into the gap in front of you. And surely Pol Euro isn't going to fight too hard.
You wouldn't have thought so, but you know this is Gran Turismo.
To be honest,
this is the World
Drummond's
Final.
on
It's
soft,
the last
and
chance
he's
you've got to do
closing.
it, and you get a bit of desperation starting to creep in. We were talking about Valerio Gallo and his podium challenge. You can see he's there on the hard compound of tyre. Look at Drummond, Sasaki and Barbara. This is exactly what we were talking about a couple of laps ago. They're now closing right up on to the back of the Italian driver. And
doesn't Drummond have a pretty good chance to even catch Serrano?
Are they going to come across him at the wrong time on the circuit? Because it's all well one thing closing up here at the Nordschleife, but getting past is such a difficult thing to do, even despite the massive difference in performance between the hard tyres on Gallo's car and the soft tyres on Drummond, Sasaki and Barbara.
He's going to catch him in a really nice place. So just coming out.
Bro, this is softs versus hards right here. Like this dude's about to super catch
all the way
Gallo.
uphill. So a really ideal spot for Drummond to
as long as he can get
Gallo defends him. We know Gallo had a spin early on. He probably knows his race isn't going to get much better than it is right now. So I wonder how hard the Italian is going to defend.
Don't get fucked over by this fucking pass.
Valerio Gallo's
Choose your spot wisely.
Punching a hole in the air. Will he try and go for a move here from the mud curve? He's getting closer and closer. Looks to the outside here. Will Gallo try and hold the position?
Get out of the way,
He's
Gallo!
for free, and they go side by side, breaking down there. But there's the soft compound tire.
Oh
no!
no!
He hits the wall. He goes wide. Oh my word! That could be it for Kylian Drumont there. Just pushing too hard. Gallo defending as he's entitled to do so, and Drumont just puts it wide into the wall.
Well, under investigation for the collision then between Drumont and Valerio Gallo. Let's see what the stewards are able to pick the bones
Hards
out of.
versus softs. He's getting closed in, super crazy. He battles there, bro. You gotta let him pass.
For second place though, meanwhile, whilst that was all unfolding behind. So Paul Ura deciding that he can't hold up Jose Serrano, his compatriot at the moment. Serrano's next target, 1.9 seconds up the road. Takuma Miyazono, quick and combat.
Oh my God, he's cooking!
He's looking good for 3 wins in 3 races here tonight.
He's fucking cooking!
He's still got a lap of bit to go. Big understeer.
Dude,
We saw him go off here earlier
no!
on. Just about covering it back up again.
Drumont is the most screwed driver in this championship for sure, right?
During a quick tie, you can see the gap to the car in front is coming down, and you know if you can keep this together for just one more lap, you are going to be the Nations Cup champion of 2025.
It has not been his day, bro.
I say that. We'll go back to the replay. This is Serrano and Ura. And Ura actually made a mistake. That's why it was so easy to get by. Goes wide that whole act. And
I want to see the Drumont.
Right through the gap there. So yeah, thank you very much, mate. Appreciate that. Off I go. I'm going to go chase down Takuma.
Well, we've seen a couple of mistakes from the 2 Spaniards then here tonight.
Dude, Serrano is on his ass, and it's not even last lap, dude. Serrano is absolutely winning this.
I feel that was.
And he's on this. Oh man.
For the penultimate time, the gap now between Miyazono and Serrano down to a second as they burst their way through and into the darkness.
Dude, Drumont was in there, bro. He can still get top 3, I think.
Serrano wants to be holding aloft. Second place, as we know, would be more than enough for him to be crowned as the champion, but you always want to sign off on a win, don't you? No doubt about it for Jose Serrano. When is he going to pick his moment as we come through to begin the
No chance, you don't think so?
The 2025 Gran Turismo World Series. It's Miyazono that leads from the fast-charging, medium-shod Jose Serrano. Paul Ura sitting there in 3rd place after that mistake cost him positions on that final lap, the last lap that we went on, but ultimate lap of racing. And let's see.
Oh my goodness.
Serrano latch onto the back of Takuma Miyazono and attack the Japanese driver here.
It's not over yet in the midfield either, Tom. We have Drumont, Barbaro, Sasaki. They've got by Gallo.
Drumont could catch Ura. No?
We think that soft tyre is around 10 seconds lap faster than the hard tyre, and there is a 6-second gap between Drumont and Ura. And importantly, Miyazono too, so none of these drivers are safe, bar maybe Serrano. So things could all change in the championship. It seems
no, you don't think so?
Right now, but
it's a big lap.
Both trying to make
it's a 7-minute lap.
Here today. So, and they really will charge hard. On
soft versus hard.
Here is Serrano then getting closer and closer to the Japanese driver. This must feel great right now, just being in this position for Jose Serrano. Miyazono slow off the corner. I think it's a done deal, Tom. Here it comes.
Yeah, no doubt about it. He's in the slipstream then. Here is Jose Serrano. Wants to keep him Miyazono
going outside.
He's got the inside line. And now he takes the race lead on the final lap. Jose Serrano is through to the front of the race.
This guy is a god.
To go here at the Nordschleife.
This guy is a fucking god.
The circuit then, and now let's see how quickly Jose Serrano can pull away from Takuma Miyazono. This has been an absolute masterclass in terms of performance for the Spanish driver. Let's not forget, of course, he won the Nations Cup back in 2023 when it was a team effort back in that year, a sort of one-off, as it were. But this would be the first chance for him to be crowned individually as the Nations Cup champion. 3rd would have been enough. He didn't need to fight for 2nd and indeed the lead of the race, as we just saw, but he wants to sign off with a victory, no doubt about it, and that's exactly
Listen, Drumont is closing in on Ura.
Drumont can get up into 2nd place here. He will put himself onto the podium. He will knock Paul Ura or Takuma Miyazono off. So it's not over there for the last couple of podium places. Here's a replay of that move then. This must feel like a victory lap now for Jose Serrano up the inside of Takuma Miyazono. Not much resistance offered there by the Japanese driver. Neither had to go on. So yeah, thanks mate, I appreciate that. I know you can't really fight me and then off he goes, sparking down the hill there.
Bro, Gallo kind of screwed Drumont, I feel like.
Beautiful image that says.
Just a masterful strategy there from Jose Serrano. You know, took the pain in the middle stint there on the hard tyre, but clearly was calculating that, working out the fact that he was going to drop off the back, have that gap relative to the rest of the field, and just be in a nice, comfortable cushion, nice, comfortable position in the closing stages of that race. You know, able to run his own lines, run his own race, and ultimately it's that middle stint that's given him the chance of that victory, because he just kept so much pace on the hard tyres relative to everybody else.
Come on, Drumont, cook, bro, cook.
Paul Euro right now, looking in his mirror, will see this, a train of 3 very fast cars. Drumont, Barbara, and
yeah, bro, Euro's right there.
Out of the guys in front, Guy Barbara up into 5th position as
under
well
investigation,
there. So
Drumont and Barbara.
Try and end off the 2025 season on a high, but the gap down to only 2.8 seconds. So
if Drumont catches a penalty, it's over.
Yeah, he must be thinking about that mistake he made on the last. So that cost him about a second and a half.
I mean, Gallo didn't get punished, so maybe it wasn't his fault.
Right now.
I suppose the thing as well is Paul Euro also made a mistake a couple of laps ago as well, didn't he? So it's funny how it all ebbs and flows. We just saw Euro. It's
only got 2 seconds.
And Barbara under investigation.
2.5.
We'll try and pick the bones out of that one. Not quite sure who was at fault for it. The stewards just having a look and seeing if anybody indeed
he can
was
see
so.
him.
You can see Sasaki also still very much latched onto the back.
2/10 immediately. He's already 2-3
there as well. In terms of the overall standings, it won't make
come on, Drumont, catch him, man.
For Guy Barbara, in terms of Takuma Sasaki, though,
look at him looking over at like it's on land. He's like looking over at other drivers
in the standings. If he's able to jump himself up the order potentially, we'll wait and see how that works out, though. We look here, though, at Gillian Drumont, who is in 4th position. What about Sasaki? Is he going to be able to attack against Guy Barbara? Side by side they run. He's got the inside line here, then, as Sasaki, but it changes to the outside lines. We flick it through the right-hander. Barbara goes deep into the corner.
No over-under.
And Sasaki just has to wait to fight another day as Barbara holds firm for 5th place as we come into the carousel. The headlights illuminating the darkness here at the Nordschleife as the sun sets on what has been a spectacular 2025 Gran Turismo World Series.
2.1.
Yeah, but Gillian Drumont is
no!
Guy Barbara has a 1-second penalty, and is that podium challenge over then for Gillian Drumont with less than half a lap to go?
Yeah, it's huge for Drumont. That's pretty much going to just put paid to his podium chances there. It just goes
Drumont's
to
been getting screwed, man.
You can't be making these mistakes. You can't be having these contacts, and that really is a reflection of this whole series.
But that had to be his fault. He got the penalty. One of the whatever he did with Barbara. We didn't get to see it though. I don't think.
Mistake in this race, but he gathered it up very
no,
nicely.
bro.
Serrano
it was all because of that Gallo Drumont battle.
He's only got a couple
it screwed him.
And the back straight between himself and putting his hands on that Nations Cup trophy.
Takuma Sasaki then attacking against Guy Barbara, or at least trying to, again, closing up onto the back of him. This is a great little tussle that's going on for 5th position. It may not be the battle for the race win that we've seen so many times here at the Nordschleife in these Red Bull X2019s, but it's a fantastic
yeah, Serrano's fucking gone, bro.
Defensive driving and also respectful driving between 2 long-time competitors in the Gran Turismo World Series. Through in towards the right-hander we go, on towards the Döttinger Höhe for the final time, and Takuma Sasaki is going to have the advantage of the slipstream here against Guy Barbara as we come down this back straight. Meanwhile, Jose Serrano is comfortably in the pound seats here. He's got a
bro, what is this guy made of, dude?
What a season the Spaniard has put together. What a night he has put together in the GT World Series here in the Nations Cup. Yesterday, he was crowned as the Manufacturers' Cup champions for Porsche, and back in 2023, he was crowned as the Nations Cup champions as part of a team effort. But now, in 2025, he will become his own champion in his own merit as Jose Serrano wins the grand final and becomes the Nations Cup champion of the world in 2025. Takuma Miyazono crosses the line in 2nd place, and Paul Euro finishes.
Euro takes the 2nd place championship, or in the championship, I believe, too.
Sasaki drops down to 6th place at the checkered flag. But what a season Jose Serrano has put together. Absolute domination.
Bro, I don't even. What are you made of, man?
Here in Japan.
What else can be said? This has been Jose Serrano.
What are you made of?
This is the guy that burst onto the scene a few years ago. He was fast but unrefined. And over the course of the last few years, he's found himself. He's found his confidence. And look at the results on circuit. You cannot argue with that.
It's been a long time since someone's won all 3 races of a championship, they said too, right?
Jose Serrano.
And he did
Fantastic job from Jose Serrano. What a feeling that is going to be. He is quite literally on top of the world at the end of our 2025 Gran Turismo World Series. Angel Enestrosa, as well as Takuma Sasaki, also there celebrating with him. We just saw Paul Ura on the right-hand side of your picture. And,
poor Drumont, dude. I feel like Drumont had a chance at maybe second or third.
Tonight, but sadly, fortune
but that one battle really cost him a lot, and then the Barbara battle cost him a second.
Jose Serrano, and also he's proven to be extremely intelligent in terms of the strategy calls. This man here, the outgoing champion of Takuma Miyazono, who we just saw a couple of moments ago. Well, what a race, what a season, what a brilliant drive from this man. And now he can enjoy it in front of the crowd here in Japan as well. He'll be holding that trophy aloft before too long.
You have to feel for Drumont, you have to feel for Valerio Gallo there. Both drivers, I think, within a shout of maybe being on the podium for the points there, but just mistakes, unfortunately, undoing that. But Serrano really shows intention from the get-go, leading there on the soft tire. But this mistake earlier on, we thought maybe for a flash it could be over for him. Unfortunately, Gallo,
yeah, dude, that mistake actually screwed Gallo up because he tried to go too fast around him, huh?
His race pretty much over on that one.
Certainly was. You saw Serrano challenging against Paul Ura, though. This was on the opening lap. Then on lap 2, Ura and Serrano actually had a bit of contact after a mistake going in towards the carousel. We also saw Miyazono in the mix there as well. Then once the pit stop started to play out, we saw a divergence in strategy. Serrano,
bro, my man rolled into the fucking pit lane with zero fuel.
Was the stint that won in the race. He kept the same pace
and won that
bitch.
bitch.
Medium-shod runners around him at this point. Well, ultimately, what that did for Jose Serrano is it allowed him a bit of clear air. Whilst everybody else made their pit stops a little bit out of sequence, and then he was able to close the gap down from about 13.5 seconds or so down to 8 seconds, which meant that he was in a great position to attack on that medium tyre in the final stint.
Bro, there it was right there, man. That was the Drumont play. He overshot the outside.
He would fall the way of Kylian Drumont being deemed as the aggressor. This is Jose Serrano attacking against Miyazono, the battle, the victory, the move that got him the race lead as he came across the line to be crowned the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series Nations Cup champion. What a moment, what a feeling that is going to be for the Spaniard. 24 points maximum to score here tonight. Takuma Miyazono in second, Paul Ura is in third place, points all the way down to 10th. Here in Fukuoka. A great way to end a very exciting season. And confirmation, 20 points the advantage.
Yo, Miyazono took second for the championship on that one.
He won race 1, he won race 2, he wins the grand final.
So he did a grand slam. And
he passed up Ura on the last race.
Since Nick was out. An amazing result for Jose Serrano.
Absolutely brilliant from Jose Serrano. He won the championship back in 2023 as part of a team effort. Now he's the individual champion in 25. Let's go and catch up with him.
Well, we are down on the floor with the winner.
He clutched the fuck up and pulled a second for the championship.
Did you win? But you won by like 20 points.
That's crazy, eh?
That's winning and some. Like, how do you feel right now? I mean, you've been super consistent. Like all this year, you've been really dominant. How does it feel?
Honestly, I have no words to describe my feeling right now. I'm super happy. For this year, it's almost perfect for me. Winning the Manufacturers Cup, Nations Cup today. So super happy.
I mean, dude showed up to Japan and won everything he needed to. That's got to be a fucking nice feeling.
昨日ね、マニュファクチャラーを勝って、そして今日はね、ネーションを勝って本当に嬉しいということですが、ほとんど完璧と言いましたけれども、ちょっとミスの時はどう思ったんでしょうか? You said almost perfect. You're finally you have time a little bit to
relax,
cool down, right?
Relax.
You know, what was in your mind when you made a slight mistake in the beginning?
Well, honestly, I did a lot of mistakes during the...
Really? You did?
Yeah. During the soft tire, I did a lot of mistakes, but...
Came in on 0% fuel.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Were you calculating that?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Are you really good at the petrol station? Can you do that?
Yeah, like 40.0 kind of things,
I need it to be 20 euros, exactly.
That's all calculated.
入ってきたのはもう計算通りだったということで、ね、ジュルスがね、ひょっとして ガソリンスタンド行った時にちょうどギリギリ20リッターとか入れることができる人ですかっていうふうに聞いてましたけどね。ちょっとね、ちょっとずつね。
Bro, I wouldn't calculate it to zero. I would have left room with 1 or 2, bro. You crazy motherfucker.
You prepared everything, right?
Yeah, the strategy was perfect. Last year I did the wrong strategy. I think I did soft, medium, and hard. And today I say, okay, I did another strategy and works perfect. So happy.
Also, oh, so no, please.
Okay, can I just connect with the audience?
Sorry.
Yeah, 去年は間違った戦略をやったと思ったので、今年は戦略を練り直して完璧な戦略ができたということですね、ジョース。
I'm too excited. I have no patience. I want to ask 48 questions. But you also, this is quite a fun fact. Would you like to know what Jose's maximum heart rate was during that race?
129.
Wow, 心拍数。
I feel like that's just me normally.
129。129というのがレース中の心拍数の最大だったそうです。Wow.
That's pretty calm, honestly,
cool
for that,
for
isn't it?
結構落ち着いてますよね。130以下ってね、200いってもおかしくないぐらいだと思うんですけども、ね地元のみんなには何か言いたいことはないんでしょうか。Any words for your fans back home in Spain?
In Spanish.
In Spanish, of course.
Of course, yeah. But we can't translate that, so.
Yeah. Well, you can translate it afterwards.
Bueno, por fin puedo hablar español aquí. Estoy muy contento por la victoria. Tenemos afición por ahí.
I took 2 years of Spanish. Yeah, hold on, give me a second.
Gracias a todos por levantaros temprano desde allí, desde casa.
Thank you for
Gracias
supporting me at my
por
house.
seguirme durante todo este año y tú durante todos estos años. Gracias a mi familia por el apoyo también.
Yeah,
Gracias a mi
thanks to my
equipo de
family
Team Falcons por
for
todo el
supporting
apoyo
me.
este año.
Thank you,
Y,
Falcons.
Pues nada, el título se viene a casa, chavales.
You can see them behind you.
Yeah.
Let's see the flag.
The flag, Spanish flag.
So, can I guess what the translation was? Was it thank you to my family, to my esports team?
Yeah.
Did I miss anyone else?
Thanks for the support or my supporters.
Wait, he's sponsored by his organization's
Yeah.
Falcons?
All right. So that's from the floor. Back to you, Tom and Jimmy. Congratulations, Bob!
Gotcha.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed, Sasha. Thank you to Jules there as well. Jose Serrano there just thanking his friends, his family, thanking the Falcons team, thanking Gran Turismo, thanking everybody, basically, for what was a phenomenal season. You can see the outpouring of emotion
how are you made
for
of
the Spaniard
steel like
there.
this?
And what it means to him to
Some
be
people,
crowned
some
as the
humans are just built
2025
different,
Gran
bro.
Turismo World
They were destined
Series
for great things.
Nations Cup champion. Vote for your Dunlop driver of the day, Jose Serrano, Takuma Miyazono or Valerio Gallo are your options there. Get involved with it and let us know on YouTube who you think your driver of the day was from that one. Jimmy Broadbent, I dare say that your Dunlop driver of the day would probably be Jose
Talent
Serrano,
and
given the
hard
call that
work.
we saw today.
I mean, how can it be anybody else? I mean, that's not to take away, of course, from the abilities of Takuma and Valerio Gallo, but this guy clean sweeps it. He is clearly the driver of the day, the driver of the year.
Yeah, amazing performance from
everyone else better have their head shaved next year.
Valerio Gallo there as well. Miyazono eventually finishing second in the standings. Paul Ura in third
They
place
wanna
there
keep up.
as well. And I have to say, it has been a very exciting season in the Gran Turismo World Series. I'm looking forward to 2026 already. Can't wait. But I have to say, for now, Jose Serrano, phenomenal season. And just tonight, I mean, in particular, there was
seeing Jimmy's always good too.
He was even under any pressure.
You've got to think about what this weekend's been like for him, right? Okay, so he
Jimmy would have got third in this race, maybe fourth.
Won the Manufacturers' Cup.
Spoiler.
Spoiler, with Team Porsche. And then comes here, wins every damn race, and then wins the last one. I think one of the biggest gaps we've seen points-wise from first to second as well. Gets out and says, oh, yeah, my heart rate was like 120.
My heart rate's at 129. Should be 170.
I said to you, it was a bit like he was driving to the shops. It was so calm and collected. Brilliant job from Jose Serrano. Let's get the podium celebrations then underway here in Fukuoka. Podium celebrations about to begin here in Japan in front of the crowd for the Gran Turismo World Series World Finals. Please welcome on to the stage, in third position for the GT World Series Nations Cup, it is Paul Ura.
表彰式ネーションズカップ第3位
Held
は
it
ポ
together.
ール・ユラスペイン
Paul Yora being congratulated by
Miyazono was
Please
actually
welcome
fucking owning
in
that
second
race.
place for the
He
Gran
raced really
Turismo
well too.
World Series Nations Cup from Japan. It's Takuma Miyazono.
そして2位は日本の宮園拓磨。
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series Nations Cup World Champion from Spain, Jose Serrano!
ネーションズカップチャンピオンスペインのホセ・セラノ。
Now, ladies and gentlemen, please stand if you're able for the national anthem of Spain.
スペイン国歌起立をお願いします。
Jose Serrano, the 2025 Gran Turismo World Series Nations Cup Champion of the World here in Fukuoka, Japan, the venue for the World Finals. Now time for the podium trophies to be presented. Third place, Hitoshi Hino from Dunlop makes his way onto the stage.
3位のプレゼンターはダンロップの日野仁様です。
And Hino-san awarding the third place trophy to Spain's Paul Yura.
3位のポール・ユラに、メダルを贈呈いたします。
Second place trophy being presented by Andreas Schicker from Corsair Fanatec as he makes his way onto the stage.
2位のプレゼンターはコルセールファナテックアンドレアス・シッカー様です。
The second place medal being presented to Japan's Takuma Miyazono.
メダルが2位の宮園選手に贈られます。
They're wrapping up.
And finally, please welcome onto the stage Gran Turismo Series producer Kazunori Yamauchi.
そして1位のプレゼンターはグランツーリスモシリーズプロデューサーの山内和則さんです。
Yamauchi-san firstly presenting the medal to Jose Serrano. And now, the trophy.
メダルに続いてトロフィーの贈呈です。
Lay down, take a nap. Okay? Get out of here.
Jose Serrano, the 2025 Gran Turismo Nations Cup champion.
Gotta be a cool feeling to be faster than everybody. It's just like, damn, this thing's heavy. I gotta switch hands back and forth. My left arm's tired. Okay, I gotta switch to the right hand for a little while. Two-hander now.
Oh my goodness, this is it's the end of our 2025 season here for Gran Turismo World Series, and what a season it has been. Tom and Jimmy, how are you feeling? Nostalgic?
Yeah,
tired? Jet lagged?
Very tired, very tired.
We were treated to a lovely series of races tonight, and I think by far and away we have one of the most well-deserved Nations Cup champions of all of these events, and it was just a pleasure to watch it.
Yeah, completely echoing the sentiments of Jimmy there. That was a masterclass from Jose Serrano. We saw some brilliant driving. Okay, we didn't quite get the grandstand finish that we're used to seeing in the GT World Series, but that was a fantastic display of just how to do it, pull the strategy right, and ultimately consistency, as we know, that's what creates champions.
Consistency is king, people.
Yeah. 本当に素晴らしいセラノのね、本当にどのレースも素晴らしい走りだったんですけれども、やっぱりね、宮園選手も本当に素晴らしい走りをしたと思います。And it was a year for Serrano, but I need to mention that Miyazono showed his spirit.
Oh, yeah, very, very much so, yeah.
宮園選手も本当に素晴らしかったと思います。
Yeah, very, very much so. But every single one of these drivers fights, you know, it's not taken lightly, and they've got a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication to be here, and it really is the best of the best. Okay, so it's not, I know it's over for now, but it's not totally over because we are coming back in 2026. Fancy a little trip to Abu Dhabi? Well, that's very high. Abu Dhabi?
アブダビがありますね。皆さん、アブダビにもぜひ来てください。Yep. What's going on in Abu Dhabi next year?
Well, we're going. Round 1 of Gran Turismo World Series is going to be coming to you live from there. The first time we're going to the Middle East. That's very exciting for all of us and for all of the competitors. And we're excited to come and meet some of the community from the Middle East as well. I think that's going to be really nice.
Absolutely, yeah. Really, really exciting venue for us. As you say, brand new venue for the GT World Series. Entering our 9th year, Jules. I can't believe it. We're getting so old.
Yeah.
9th year, 2026.
来年は9年目ということになりますけれども、初の中東のレース、アブダビ、ぜひ皆さん注目していただきたいと思います。第一戦です。Yeah.
We're really old now, Sasha. Look at us. We need a before and after picture.
Yeah.
Year 1, year 9.
We should. We
really don't need to do that. We're going to start in Zimmer frames next year, I reckon, or like, you know, something like that.
Well, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen in Abu Dhabi. I don't know. Well, look, it's been our sincere pleasure to bring you the Gran Turismo World Series for 2025. We will be back next year with more. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.
Sayonara.
That was fun. GG's. Freaking Serrano.